Hey everybody, it is Kellen Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's Drag Files channel, and thanks for joining me on this YouTube premiere of some classic drag racing on the Drag Files channel. First time ever we've done this. Would have loved to have done this as a live stream, but planning and so on and so forth, blah 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 blah. Let's not get into it. Let's just get into the action itself. We'll go back into the time machine. Maybe not the Nitro time machine. I don't want to steal that thing from Loans and the NHRA guys. But we'll go back into the hot tub time machine at least. We'll go back 23 and 22 years respectively on this premiere tonight. And take a look back at the 1999 and 2000 Hot August Nights. Yes, the 2022 edition of Hot August Night coming your way August 10th at RAD Torque Raceway. The Nitromaniac TV cameras will be there. And we'll be looking forward to it, to having all that great footage for you guys and videos and different presentations later on throughout the year. However, we're going to go back in time, take a look at the broadcast as it aired on Community Cable Access up here in Edmonton, Alberta. Yes, on SHAW Motorsports, which was a cable carrier up here. They had a community channel, and that channel, it was Channel 10 for us. It's akin to the American Cable Access stuff. That you would see would have just a potpourri of stuff that would play from time to time. Everything from independent wrestling to drag racing to oval track stuff to truck and tractor pulls. That was the Shaw Motorsports side of things, and then minor hockey sometimes. There was a community bulletin, like a news program, you name it, so on and so forth. Anything that you'd see on cable access basically was on this channel. The Canadian version of it. A fellow by the name of Gord, one of the track announcers, a legendary figure in motorsports broadcasting, actually, here in Western Canada, as he was the track announcer since day one at Capital Raceway, Labatt Raceway, Budweiser Motorsports Park, Castro Raceway, and RAD Torque Raceway. And if you think, oh man, he's been all over the place, no, that's the same facility. It's just been renamed 5 times. And he was the fella that put this deal together with Shaw. He had a bunch of racers pay for sponsorship times and that stuff on for commercials for this program, for both action and on the drag side, on the oval track side, truck and tractor pulling stuff, you name it, for about 2 or 3 years on Shaw, from 1998 to about 2001, about a 4-year period. There were motorsports programs on this cable access channel, and basically Gord and his team would put it together. So you will hear Gord Craig on the call, and another legendary figure in the Edmonton motorsports scene, I should say, Stan Ankers, will also be the color commentator on this. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, enjoy the 1999 Hot August Night after this quick little break, and then I'll be back in between here to tee you up with the 2000 Hot August Night, what that was like. Okay, see ya.
Sound loud enough to knock you down. The roar of nitro-powered engines reaches out into the stands to grab and hold the attention of every fan. Burnouts complete. Drivers bring their sleek cars to the starting line. Enclosed in helmet and cockpit, they peer ahead at their destination. Darkness isn't the only enemy that lies waiting for the drivers. Though the darkness can be unnerving, more dangerous by far can be the light. The blinding flash of light from fire.
For speed seekers, there's no better place in Western Canada than Edmonton, Alberta's RAD Raceway. At this track, speed's the name of the game, and this season has been no exception. New track record set in 2 classes. At the NHRA Canadian Open, Roger Bateman of Calgary reset a 3-year-old top alcohol funny car track record running in the 580s at over 230 miles per hour. Weeks later at the Harley-Davidson of Edmonton all-bike drags, Ron Howney from Haney, British Columbia runs in the 690s at 196 miles an hour to enter his name to the RAD Raceway record book. It's been an incredible season of speed and new records for Edmonton, but a memorable season too. The sounds of a 6,000 horsepower nitro funny car, brand new, Edmonton-based, filled the air at the track. From Sherwood Park, the Castrol GTX team of Jason Duchesne and SHAW Motorsports was there for its first ever checkout pass. We're hoping for a record-setting broadcast as one barrier at RAD Raceway has yet to be broken, 300 miles per hour. The Jet Dragsters are here, and so are we. Get ready, race fans. SHAW Motorsports brings you Autotrans Championship Drag Racing and exclusive coverage of Snap-on Tools hot August night. Race fans, exclusive coverage of Autotrans Championship Drag Racing here on SHAW Motorsports and the 1999 Snap-on Tools hot August night. Cars are lined up behind me. They are in the time trial mode of our evening here. We won't be covering the time trials, covering just the racing here tonight, and it gives us an opportunity to talk to some of the drivers in the pit area. And co-hosting with me tonight is Stan Ankers, and Stan Ankers in the pit area right now with one of the feature drivers all the way up from Billings, Montana. It's Chuck Haynes. Stan?
Thank you very much, Gord. I'm here with Chuck Haynes in the pits. Chuck, your car here, it's a Jet Dragster, capable of over 300 miles an hour. Would you tell us a few things about it?
Well, thanks a lot, and Gordy, and it's all great to be back here at Edmonton and the RAD Dragway, and we're really happy to be here for the Snap-on Night of Fire. And actually, the car is a Jet Dragster, and it's propelled by a Pratt & Whitney J60 engine. Now, that engine was used in Saberliners, Jetstar, small private-type jets. It puts out about 13,000 horsepower, has about 6,000 pounds of thrust, and is capable of speeds of over 300 miles an hour.
Great. And now, Chuck, I know you've been in the business quite a long time. Can you please tell the people out there how long you've been in the business?
Well, the jet business, this is going into our 6th season. The RAD Raceway is really kind of a special place for me because this is our first drag race where the jet was here at the old Capitol Raceway. And so we've got a lot of friends and a lot of family, and might as well be family here.
That's true, yeah. No, we look forward to seeing you back here every year. What do you expect out of the conditions here tonight?
Well, to be totally honest with you, Stan, it's pretty warm tonight. Mm-hmm. We were really hoping to run over 290, but unless it comes and cools off a bit and the air comes to us a little bit, I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to probably be in the 270s, 280 range. I'd sure like to see it happen, but you know, the atmospheric conditions have a lot to do with these engines, and it's going to hamper our performance some.
Right. Okay, the fuel that you run in this, now I know some people know that jet engines can almost run on anything, but what do you run in this particular
Well, we prefer to run kerosene. K1 is what we prefer to run. We've run diesel in them, we've run Jet A, we've run some JP4. So they are averse on a lot of different fuels. And to be honest with you, a lot of the differences in how sooty they are, you know, you run diesel fuel in them and things get a lot sootier.
That's
but
true.
They will run fine on.
Autotrans.
Hi, fill it up for you?
And away we go, race fans. It is Autotrans Championship drag racing and exclusive coverage of the 1999 Snap-on Tools Hot August night, high above the announcer tower here at Labatt Raceway. I'm Gord Craig, with me, Stan Ankers. And Stan, this is going to be an unbelievable race tonight.
Oh, it is, Gord. I mean, the weather's just been perfect for the last 2 days, putting down the heat into the track. And as it cools off here tonight, as the sun goes down, the performances will pick up, and that, looking forward to a great night here. It
is a capacity crowd here at Labatt Raceway. The first 2 cars on the racetrack, burnout completed, and it is Darrell Webb in the near lane in the bumper-to-bumper Corvette alcohol funny car, going up against a relative newcomer in the blown alcohol scene, but it's a Jay Maggio, no stranger to racing though.
No, that's true. Jay's been around for a long time, ever since about the age of 16, 17, Jay. And he's worked up through the ranks just like Darrell did. They were racing Super Pro. Now they're both running the 750 class here, and this is Jay's first year.
And Jay, it's a 1923 T-altered Roadster, and apparently he also has a funny car body, which he wants to go with the look of a funny car. He just slaps that on that race car as well.
That's true, but Jay kind of favors the altered. He kind of likes the looks of the altered, and that's what's nice about this class. You've got the different variety of cars. You can have rear engine dragster, funny cars, or the altereds, or even bodied cars in this class.
So Jay Maggio in the far lane, Darrell Webb in the near lane. We're going to get to all of our the reaction time, elapsed time, mile per hour throughout the show here on SHAW Motorsports. Jay Maggio coming up to the start line right now, and he's looking for a win. You want to know why? He has not won against Darrell Webb at all in 1999.
No, that's true, and of course this goes back to their Super Pro days when they used to race each other. I mean, they're very good friends off the track, but right now it's winner take all.
And Maggio off the line first, a 5:97 reaction time. Darrell Webb with a 9:79 at the finish line. Hey, there's his first win.
Wow.
A 7:97, 157.37 miles an hour. And Darrell Webb winning a 7:66, and just about got him at the finish line. It was close as the capacity crowd looks on, and what a wonderful night for racing here at Labatt Raceway.
That's true. It should be interesting up at the top end. It might be a little hard to get Jay's helmet off because I'm sure he's pretty pumped right now, and he's feeling really good about that win.
Bet you indeed. Here's a start, and here's a reaction time advantage. Oh, so important. Look at the jump Jay Maggio got on Darrell Webb.
Yeah, he, so to speak, in the drag racing ranks, Darrell was sleeping a little there.
Well, we've got our pairing of top alcohol dragsters right now. Serge Dion in the far lane, and Serge, we talked to them in the pit area. We'll get to that interview here in just a couple of moments, but how about this? In-car camera, Cine Auto Visual car cam here at that raceway.
This is super, Gord, yeah. Both these fellows are quite good friends and everything, away from the track and everything. They work on each other's car, help each other out. Of course, Serge is with Kenny Sitko this year in the Sitko family car. It's Serge's motor in the car, and it's Kenny's car. And in spectator lane, we've got Steve Sitko, and he's the brother of Kenny.
Well, Steve Sitko riding a huge high right now on the weekend in Calgary at Race City Motorsports Park. Picked up the big win at the Nhra Canadian Open.
That's right. He picked up the Wally at the Canadian Open down there and won the race.
But the funny thing is, Serge Dion, about a month ago, picked up the Nhra Canadian Open win here at Labatt Raceway.
That's right, in Edmonton.
So this is an unbelievable pairing. 2 drivers, while Serge is he's new to the scene as far as top alcohol drag racing is concerned. But the burnouts are complete. The tires are now nice and hot because, well, you have to do burnouts in these high-powered race cars, about 2,500 horsepower each.
That's right. That burnout is not for show. There's a definite purpose for it, and that's to heat up those tires, get them nice and sticky. As you can see, Steve's crew, they're cleaning the little bits of sand and stuff that might be on the track off the tires. Make sure they're completely cleaned and ready for the run.
Well, they're coming up to the start line right now. The Christmas line starting tree tells the drivers how close they are to the start line. There's little bulbs on a tree that illuminate. They're going to be pre-staged here in just a couple of moments. But Serge Dion and Steve Sitko, let's listen in.
Just ever so slowly edging her in.
Oh, a 4:40 reaction time for Steve Sitko. A perfect light is a 4:40.
That's a good light for Steve.
There's a win. A 6:17, 222.71 miles an hour. A 6:47, 212.51 miles an hour for Serge. So Steve Sitko takes round number 1 in the top alcohol dragster class here tonight on Autotrans Championship Drag Racing and the Snap-on Tools Hot August night. We got some funny car action coming up here in just a couple of moments as and that's, well, a veteran in the funny car scene, Kevin Therese out of Saskatchewan.
The Eatmore car, yes, out of Saskatoon.
Well, we had plenty of opportunity earlier on in the pit areas. We take a look at a replay here, and this is what a huge reaction time advantage looks like. Yeah, Steve Sitko with the reaction time advantage. We're going to go to the interview right now. We talked with Serge Dion in the pits.
Reminder to all the fans here.
Serge Dion with me now. Sort of a bittersweet race here about a month and a half ago at the JB's Power Center NHRA Canadian Open. Not a good finish to the victory.
Oh, not really. We're unfortunate to have a parachute malfunction, and we kind of rolled the car 4 times. Not much we could have done anything else. So we fixed the car up and went out to Spokane for 3 weeks later and kind of got ourselves another win just to make up for this crash.
So Serge, 2 wins in a row now, and you raced at the NHRA Canadian Open down in Calgary on the weekend, and you made it to the, I think it was the semifinals.
No, I kind of lost in first round actually.
Well, close enough though, but still the experience, because you're a relative newcomer to the sport of top alcohol drag racing.
That's right. This is my first year driving, and this is going to be my 5th race actually, and I think we're doing pretty well for first year.
Well, you've won half the races so far in 1999, and again, this is your 5th race tonight, and hoping for another big win here tonight.
That's right. We can't be really too greedy. I guess somebody else got to win once in a while.
Well, sometimes you almost have to be greedy, don't you, Stan?
That's true.
Well, we'll see him and Steve Sitko a little later on in this broadcast as they'll pair off once again, and obviously Serge will hope to pull one out of the hat, and again we'll see them a little later on. It is funny car time now here on Autotrans Championship Drag Racing and Snap-on Tools Hot August night here on SHAW Motorsports. Kevin Therese out of Humboldt, Saskatchewan in the Hershey-sponsored Eatmore Top Alcohol Funny Car, and in the near lane, local favorite. Boy, he has sure come a long way, hasn't he?
Oh, he has. John's been actually around racing for a lot longer than people know. He goes way back to the 1970s when he was involved with a nitro a fuel car out of Edmonton. But he's had this car. This is the 3rd year, and he's really put the performance in it. Each year's got better and better, and I know for a fact about a few of the things for next year. It's going to be even better yet.
Well, we just saw the replay of that nice smoky burnout. You have to have a good burnout. If you don't have even tire temperatures, that can get you into trouble a little bit.
That's true, yeah. If they're not right, you can hook up on one tire and it'll shoot you just immediately left or right, depending on which tire hooks up, and it could be very disastrous in that.
Well, when these cars, they're pumping out around 2,500 horsepower each, and yeah, you got to have, well, everything, just 100%.
That's right, yeah.
As you go down the track. So it's Kevin Therese out of Saskatchewan, John Evanchuk right here in the old hometown of Edmonton. Reaction time again, a 4:00 is a perfect light on the start line Christmas tree.
Alberta versus Saskatchewan.
Let's listen in. The RPMs come up to around 5,000, don't they, before they pop the clutch and away they go.
Starter Eddie Shapka. Wait until they get lined up, ready to go here.
And away they go. Well, John Evanchuk, actually pretty good reaction time for both these two drivers. To a point, anyway. They should be in the low 5s. But John Evanchuk with the big win, a 6.26, 225.73 miles an hour. I think Kevin Therese shut her down a little bit. Maybe some tire shake on that race car?
I believe that's what happened there, Gord. He had a little tire shake and wisely shut it off. It's better to come back, race another day, than to stuff the car into the wall.
You've got your car, you've got your driver, but you also have your crew. And John Evanchuk's crew very, very happy after that run.
That's true, Gord. And John's crew chief, Wayne Barber, he's been around this business for a long time.
Wayne Barber, crew chief, John Evanchuk's Red Wolf Funny Car, the race team. Explain to the viewers at home the basic components of a 25 horsepower top alcohol motor.
2,500 horsepower, but yeah. It's basically aluminum block, big everything, big compression, camshaft, just everything. Then you put a PSI blower on top of it, which it takes about 800 horsepower alone just to turn the blower. But of course you get that back again. And you have to have a super good clutch, the transmission, everything has to be double strong stuff to make it down to run 6:15s and 5-second passes with these things.
Well, you're preparing it for a run here at the Hot August Night at RAD Raceway in Edmonton, Alberta. Now, what are some of the things? Each racetrack is different. Okay, you were running in Calgary just several days ago. Compare that racetrack to this racetrack and the setup of the motor.
Well, the setup of the motor does, the racetrack makes a big difference to that. We'll have to see after they have some cars go down this racetrack tonight just exactly. Ken Thompson's preparing it, so I'm sure it'll be a pretty all-right racetrack. The one in Calgary on the weekend, with the weather being the way it was a little suspect. You can't put all the power all the time down to the ground. It'll just smoke even these big tires on the back. So yeah, the racetrack makes a big difference, but I'm quite sure that it'll be a pretty good racetrack out here tonight. You can look forward to seeing some low 6 numbers anyways.
Looking forward to that, and the viewers at home are looking forward to that as well. Wayne Barber keeping the pedal to the metal for the John Evanchik Red Wolf Funny Car Race Team. Well, Stan, a driver can be good, but a crew chief has to be great.
That's true. And speaking about great crew chiefs here, we've got the Bateman and Reynolds car out of Calgary, Alberta. Currently the 1998 Division 6 winner, and this year they're leading the points at this point in time, not by much, but this is a car that runs. This should be an interesting run with this car here.
They've had an awesome year in the province of Alberta alone. Just about a month ago, we saw the highlights in the opening of our program tonight, winning the NHRA Canadian Open at Labatt Raceway. It was about a month later, actually maybe just a few days ago, they picked up the big win in Calgary at Race City Motorsports Park and the NHRA Canadian Open Championship there.
That's right. They picked up both wins with the Canadian National Open Challenge here in Alberta.
Well, also Roger Bateman, the current track record here at Labatt Raceway in the top alcohol funny car class. He set it at the NHRA Canadian Open about a month ago. 238.15 miles an hour, 5.87 seconds. I don't think we'll see some track records in the funny car class tonight. You never know, but right now I think the track's just a little bit too hot and maybe a little greasy.
That's true, Gordon. No, I don't think we're going to see any record run right here. Maybe a little later on tonight. When we say a little interesting tidbit about Roger. He goes way back, just like I do. And back in the old Speedway days, he used to drive an altered. And there was one day there where it kind of got out of whack because it wasn't set up right, and he took out the tree.
Well, Roger Bateman hoping not to take out the tree here tonight, but he's looking over his left-hand shoulder right now. Danny Fillion out of Saskatchewan, newcomer in the alcohol funny car class, is recently licensed. And actually, last year in our broadcast, we saw him doing some licensing passes. So good luck to Danny Fillion, but man, he's got his hands full in this run here against Roger Bateman. You're going to hear the RPMs come up once again to around 5,000. Reaction time, a perfect light again is 4:00. Both drivers are away. Well, Roger Bateman off a little bit. Danny Fillion out to an early start, but look at the horsepower taking over.
That's true. That's true, Gord. And if you
6.66-second run, 232.31 miles an hour, and 8:28, 123.20 miles an hour for Danny Fillion in the far lane. So Roger Bateman again. What we're doing here, it's match race format here tonight. We'll get to that in just a couple of moments. You had something to say, Stan?
Yes, I was just going to say, if you watch that run with Roger, he kind of hit that little bump in the right-hand lane, and it kind of unloaded. But Roger's very good at backpedaling the car, and that's what he did, and you saw what happened there. He backpedaled her and got back into her, and he won the race.
Well, we got a replay coming up here.
Yes, here, watch it here in the right-hand lane coming up. About 100 feet out.
Look at the tires.
And he's hazing the tires. Little
tire shake. So that's how Danny Fillion.
Watch right here. It kind of jumped.
Got out to an early start there, an early lead, but the horsepower again taking over. Roger Bateman picking up the big win in that round.
Now we have Gord Whitehead coming up to the starting line right now. He's about to do his burnout here. Gord out of Saskatchewan also.
Now we've got, we just mentioned the match race format. It's Glenn Whitehead. Puts the pedal to the metal, smokes those tires. Now the match race format that we have for you tonight, we've got 5 funny cars on the property. Okay, this is Glenn Whitehead. And right now, John Evanchik has got the best ET out of all of them.
That's right.
Roger Bateman running a 6.66-second run. So we take the top 2 drivers, they go right to the final, okay? And we'll be seeing the top 2 drivers a little later on in this broadcast. So right now, the bump is a 6.66 second run. Glenn Whitehead, in order to make it to the final, has to go faster than 6.66 seconds in the quarter mile. Speed doesn't matter, okay?
No.
Speed's nice,
No.
okay?
That's true.
But as far as drag racing is concerned, it is ET that gets you the win,
That's right. ET gets you the win.
or elapsed time. So yeah, he's a relative newcomer. I believe this is his 4th year racing.
Yes, Gord is very new to this thing, but again, just like the Danny Fillion in the Snap-on car, he's picked up his performance this year and that, and just got better and better every year here. So I look forward to great things out of Gord here.
Yeah, he holds the track record at Saskatchewan International Raceway in Saskatoon. Glenn Whitehead, RPM's up, away he goes. Reaction time not showing on our monitor right now, but we'll get the ET and mile. Yes, we do. 674, 212.31 miles an hour. Doesn't have it. So Evanchuk, Bateman, a 6.26 for Evanchuk. Bateman, a 6.66 second run. We'll see them in the final a little bit later on tonight. Glenn Whitehead, Kevin Therese, and Danny Fillion. Not quite enough to make it to the final here tonight. It is motorcycle time. Stand by. Some nitromethane coming up next. Yeah, well, unfortunately, this is TV, Stan, and not TV. It's wonderful coverage that Shaw's doing here at Labatt Raceway, but nothing beats being at the race facility itself.
No, you get a whiff of that nitro, and I'll tell you, you'd never forget it once you've got your first whiff.
About 600 horsepower is what Kenny Kent, owner of Harley-Davidson of Edmonton, is sitting on. Top fuel Harley-Davidson. He just got back from Sturgis, South Dakota. Out of 18 machines, he qualified 13th, and he's the first in Canada ever to go over 200 miles an hour on 2 wheels. Burnout time.
That's quite the feat, actually, to go to Sturgis, because that is the granddaddy race for the bike guys, and they just love going there. And for Kenny to qualify like that, that's pretty good for him, especially for a guy way up north here where we have winter 4 to 6 months out of the year. You know, and he just doesn't get the track time some of these other guys do stateside. So Kenny's been doing this for a long time, but he, you know, and it takes quite a bit to dial these bikes in, Gord.
Kenny Kent will be taking on George Welch. Now, this is not a top fuel bike that George is on. It's called a B fuel bike. It's carbureted, and it's got 2 gears, I believe, in this machine. So it's down in horsepower. George has probably got around 300 horsepower, 350 horsepower, and he's taking on Ken Kent.
That's
600 horsepower. We're going to see the difference in performance on these machines on this run. And
Yeah.
watch the wrists. Watch the wrists on these 2 riders here as they crank it. George Welch is away, a 686 reaction time. George Welch at 654. And you can see the difference in horsepower. But
Yeah, Kenny just
down
motors
a little
away.
bit, though.
8:01 at 158 miles an hour. We're getting into a 978 at 100.
In the pits right now, George Welch, rider of the nitro-powered motorcycle. First off, George, congratulations on making it to the semifinals a few weeks ago at the all-bike drags.
Thank you, Gord.
And it's been a fun experience for you. You started off in the top gas class, and you moved up into nitro. And tonight, no pressure whatsoever. You're the only nitro bike on the property.
Yeah, so I understand. I thought that Ken was going to come out, but haven't seen him yet. So we're just going to do a few test and tunes to get ready for the weekend coming up in Ashcroft.
Well, that's going to be a great weekend for you there. And, of course, having a track in your own backyard where you can come out and do a little test and tuning sure helps.
Yeah, it's nice when they have evenings or days or weekends like this where the track is prepped properly for nitro, so you can actually, do a proper test and tune.
That's right. And not a cheap sport to run, especially in the nitromethane class.
No, it's costly. The fuel is $50 a gallon to begin with, so think about it from there.
Well, George Welch, have fun tonight. We're going to show a shot of you running down the track here a little later on this evening. And, hey, let's put some good numbers up on the board.
We'll do our best.
And just after that video that we shot there, Ken Kent actually rumbled onto the property. And it's kind of nice to have 2 nitro bikes on the property. And Ken's performance off just a little bit, maybe about 25 to 30 miles per hour. And the ET was off maybe by about a second and a half. But we're sure we'll get some performance out of him a little later on tonight when we get George Welch back out to take on Ken Kent. The numbers for George Welch, wonderful. But speaking of performance,
That's what the people came for.
the whine of the turbine.
Yes.
What a distinct sound that these jet cars make. You're looking at current track record holder from Billings, Montana, Chuck Haynes in Gravity Storm. Chuck Haynes just a couple of years ago ran 5.52 seconds in the quarter mile, and he lost out the mile-per-hour record to Doug Dothett from California. Doug ran 289.20 miles an hour, and again, wouldn't it be nice to see a new track record set here at the Labatt Raceway in Autotrans Championship Drag Racing?
That's true, Gord, because a couple years ago, they were only allowed to run these cars up to 300 miles an hour. Now they've bumped it up to 320. So who knows what we're going to see here tonight.
Well, that interview we did with Chuck earlier on, he was a little bit worried about the weather conditions. It's a beautiful day. Hey, it's great for sun tanning and all that kind of stuff, but like like a person standing out in the hot sun all day, you get sort of tired and sluggish. Race cars react in the same way.
That's true. Yes, they do, Gord.
Ready for a fire show?
Yes.
For those of you at home who have not seen a fire show, stand by. It's going to get great tonight too, when the lights go out, or lights come on. Here comes
Here
the
we
plan.
go.
Sit back and enjoy, Stan. Here we go.
Now this is part of their show, Gord, okay? Not really that necessary that they do this, but the fans love it, and hey, it is fantastic, especially when we get to see it at night.
Yeah, and we will be carrying the jet car is going to be running 2 more times after this pass.
That's right.
Now, Chuck Haynes actually owns the car that he's running against here. He's sort of a 2-car team. Leland Blee, also from the great state of Montana, who's a newcomer to the jet car scene, is piloting that car here tonight. Jet dragster called Pacifier. About 11,000 horsepower for each of these jet dragsters.
Just awesome, Gord. Just awesome. I mean, how would you like to go get your groceries with one of these babies?
I wouldn't like to tailgate one of these guys, that's for sure.
Yeah, but wouldn't they be great in the wintertime for driving up that road as you're driving down it?
Alrighty, it's horsepower time, mile-per-hour time. Chuck Haynes, Leland Blee, and away they go. Reaction time goes to Blee. And he crosses the finish line with a 6:33, 251.60 miles an hour, beating his boss, who had the slower ET, a 6.8 or a faster ET, a 6:18 at 263.08 miles an hour. But you can see there's what reaction time does for you. You get the early jump. Sometimes it's almost impossible, even if you have the faster car.
That's true.
To come back for the win. The fans showing their approval. First pass of the jet dragsters.
You cannot sleep, Gord. When you get that light, you've got to go. Now, if you watch Chuck's car here towards the end, watch the front end. It just picks up off the track a little, just a little. Just watch it closely here.
Almost catches him. Maybe if the track was maybe an additional 100 feet.
There.
Yeah. The track was an additional 100 feet in length. He may have caught Leland Blee,
That's right.
but it's only a quarter mile, the race, from start to finish.
That's all right. I knowing Chuck, he'll be coming back wanting to get the next one.
Well, 2 first-timers here at Labatt Raceway in Edmonton, and we've got them. They're lining up on the start line right now. What a crowd here at Labatt Raceway tonight. It's probably around 7,000, maybe 8,000 people.
It's got to be a record crowd for Labatt Raceway, Gord. Just got to be a record.
Well, it's a great show, as always. When you get the feature cars like this, guaranteed performance from these jet cars, too. Don't have to worry about doing this, the burnouts of the tires, because it's almost like, it's a jet car on 4 wheels. That's pretty well explains it. Very light in weight as well. 1,500 pounds, sometimes these cars weigh, and that's about it.
That's right. Basically what it is, a 747 minus the body.
Lots of families out of Labatt Raceway here tonight, the youngsters, and it's wise. Plug your ears.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, you can hurt your ears.
From Van Nuys, California, he's in the far lane, driving the Cannonball Express. And it is one of the more unique jet dragster. Good old Casey Jones. In the near lane, from Spokane, Washington, driving Brain Damaged.
What an appropriate name. What an appropriate name.
It's a unique sound, the Brain Damaged jet dragster of Neil Hansen. And the fire show once again, and again, the sun is up right now. And when the sun goes down, like the jet dragsters are coming back 2 more times in our broadcast here.
But, I mean, we're seeing the fire show plain as day, so to speak, here, Gord, right now. So wait till the sun goes down. That's why they call it the hot August night.
Well, the jet car, a typical jet car, will burn about 24 gallons of fuel per quarter-mile run. Most of it's probably used up in the fire show.
I would think so, Gord, yes. Probably 20 in the fire show and 5 down the track.
All right, race fans. First pass ever for these two drivers in Edmonton. Let's see how they do.
Casey's still bringing her in there, just lining her up. Both stay. There they go.
Oh, look at the reaction. 499 in the fours. That's pretty good for a jet. And he crosses the finish line with the win, a 6:55, 247.66 miles an hour. Hansen an 850, 212.01 miles an hour. Those numbers won't set the world on fire, but then again, it's a new racetrack for them. They don't want to take their chances. They got to familiarize themselves.
That's true, Gord.
It's a short shutdown lane here too. It's a quarter mile in length, exactly the same that they're racing on.
That's true. With an additional, maybe another quarter mile of dirt shutdown.
Well, that's one area you definitely don't want to use, that dirt shutdown area. A few of the drivers have, but you stay out of that area. Stan, it was an incredible display of race action, the first round of the alcohol funny cars and dragsters, and of course our jets.
Yes, it was, Gord. What a super first round there. Now, some of the guys did have a little bit of trouble getting down the track, but that normally happens, but I'm looking for great things come second round here.
Well, Steve Sitko found some bite in the track, running about 6:17 in the quarter mile, and look for maybe into the 6.0s later on here tonight.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. Steve's on a hot tear right now. He just won the National Open in Calgary last weekend, and yeah, he's on a hot tear, so look for those numbers out of Steve tonight.
Well, a lot of the drivers are talking about driving down the quarter mile into the sun. It is a scorcher of a night here. Auto Trends Championship Drag Racing and the 1999 Snap-on Tools Hot August Night temperature. It must be in the 30s.
Yes, it is. It's quite warm out there, Gord, but of course, with the 2 days of heat we've had, that's great for the track. That's going to make for great traction here, especially when the sun goes down and starts to cool off. We're going to see some good numbers out of all the classes.
And indeed, we've got more race action to come here on SHAW Motorsports. Stand by. We've got more racing coming up next. Press, we got Casey Jones. Casey, welcome to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and Labatt Raceway.
Well, thank you very much. We're really excited about being here. You know, this is our first trip up here, and we can't be any more thrilled than what we are, let me tell you.
Well, as far as veterans in the jet drag racing scene is concerned, you probably rank up there as number one on the runway.
We've been around for a while. We sat out for a number of years, but we're back really strong now. We've been racing full-time now for about 4 years, and just having a ball.
Well, tell us a little bit about your jet dragster. It's a very, very unique machine. That's all I can say. And the fans at home and in the grandstands are going, hey, I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
Well, with a name like Casey Jones, I felt like I would have really missed a train, if you know what I mean, if I didn't put together a choo-choo train. So we have a cow catcher on the front, complete with a smokestack and a bell and a whistle and an engineer's cabin in the back. It's just a fun car. The whole design concept came with my name, obviously. I've had trains in my life, all my life. From the time I was born, my mom and dad wanted to have a Casey Jones. So, I mean, Santa Claus was real good to me one Christmas where I woke up one morning. I actually had a pedal car called the Cannonball Express Casey Jones Jr. And I was 3 years old when that happened, you know. So, needless to say, it's something that's been a part of my life all my life.
It's a little bit of history there, and it's stuff that the race fans like to hear. They like the race cars, but there's people attached to these machines, and it's kind of neat to hear some in-depth stuff. And it's wonderful that you can make the trek up here to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I sure hope that people have treated you well here so far.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I've got a good friend of mine, Brad Jadaszewski, that lives over in Drayton Valley, and I met Brad back in 1985 when I was just a young guy starting off in the jet car deal, and he was pretty big up here in the alcohol funny cars and stuff. In fact, me and Brad are planning on putting together a jet-powered funny car, and we're going to have a jet funny car up here in Canada next year, so we're really excited about that. And he's been down to see me about 2 or 3 times over the years, and I've never been able to make it up here, so to finally get up and be up here to meet Brad and his family and all, it's been fantastic. We're fortunately going to be able to sneak in about a week's worth of vacation in here, so we're really excited.
Well, that is fantastic. Well, Casey Jones, welcome again to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and have fun the rest of the night here at Labatt Raceway.
You better believe it. We're going to have a good time. I hope everybody enjoys the car, and we're, like I said, thrilled to be here. Thank you.
What an incredible man.
Just super.
Yeah.
Super. Really nice guy.
Well, that's the neat thing about drag racing. It is one big happy family. It really is. Once you get to know the drivers.
Yeah, it's the people that's kept me around it all the years that I've been involved with.
Well, we got the Nitro bikes out one more time. They've switched lanes now. That's George Welch out of Edmonton. He's wrapping up his burnout on his B Fuel Nitro Harley Davidson. Not a cheap sport. This is Nitro. Any vehicle powered by Nitro.
No, nor any bike even.
Yeah.
Very expensive, especially the Harleys, because basically all the pieces have to be virtually handmade for them because they're not an aftermarket like your small block, big block Chevys or Mopars or Fords.
Kenny Kent, also out of Edmonton. But he's been a busy guy. Just like 3 days ago, Sturgis, South Dakota at the all-bike drag. So he may be a little bleary-eyed here tonight.
I think they have to be a little blurry-eyed to get on these bikes to start with, Gord.
Well, the bikes are hooked up. Watch the front wheel, okay? Sometimes they will carry the front wheel off the ground, maybe about 60 feet, sometimes 100. Ken is hooked.
Yeah.
He is hooked up. A little bit of a bobble there, but a 747, 174.38 miles an hour, and a stout run from George Welch, an 895, 144.97 miles an hour. Okay, in the pit area right now, driving the brain-damaged jet dragster from Spokane, Washington, Neil Hansen. And Neil, sort of a miracle that you're here.
Well, we found out about the race on Friday. We raced Spokane last Saturday, jumped in the truck. We raced with Casey last weekend and kind of come up here to have some fun.
You've been doing this for 3 years, and nothing beats jet drag racing, especially for the show that you put on for the race fans.
Well, that's the whole point. We're here strictly to put on a show for the crowd. I mean, as you can see, when we go down the track, everybody is on their feet. They're hooting and hollering. Hopefully the stands will take the punishment up there. People get to jumping up and down and having a lot of fun. That's the main thing.
Well, you're enjoying it here. First time at RAD Raceway, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and your first impression so far?
I love it up here. It's going to be hard-pressed to get me back in the States.
Aha! Hey, good stuff. Neil Hansen, good luck in your remaining passes here tonight at RAD Raceway.
Well, thank you much. Hopefully we'll do better the next couple passes. We had a little bit of a problem in the cockpit last round, and we'll get that taken care of, and next pass ought to be 250, 255.
Well, let's just hope that he gets into the 250 range. I know he's probably disappointed with that first run ever down the racetrack here, but then again, he can't be too careful either.
No, you can't. And look what we got coming up, Gord. A little added feature to tonight's show.
Well, this was an unexpected surprise. As you can see, they're burning something different in this motor.
The sweet smell of nitro. Nitro funny car.
About 6,000 horsepower for these nitro funny cars. Brand spanking new. Jason Duchesne, they're based out of Sherwood Park in the Castro GTX trial and error machine. And they were down in Spokane for the AHRA World Finals, had a chance to sort of stretch their legs in this race car. They're still trying to figure it out. And really, this is only about his 5th or 6th pass for this race car. It's that brand new.
That's true, Gord. He's still basically doing test and tune runs and that. So I expect here we're not going to see a great run. He'll get into it and just take it easy. It's still a learning process. I mean, this is one powerful car.
It is indeed.
You don't want to fool around with this because you can get into trouble very quickly. Just an easy burnout. Heat up the tires a little.
Yeah.
That tells me that, this won't be a hard all-out run.
No.
Again, Jason is still trying to get his license, so he's got a little way to go here to get down to the level where he's got to get the ET down to, into the low 540, I believe it is. And he's just taking it nice and easy, which is the way you should. You don't want to rush this.
Well, it definitely helps when you have the racetrack in your own backyard to, I guess, practice on.
Yeah, it does, Gord.
But the fans, of course, a bonus, they weren't expecting this, so a little bit of the sound is so distinct in a nitro funny car, and even a top fuel dragster.
That crisp crackling that you get off of that, and again, Gord, unfortunately, we've got this on TV, we don't have smell-o-vision yet, but it'd sure be nice if the people out there could smell this nitro. Is just something unreal. You can see the flames coming out of the exhaust headers. This, again, just like the jet cars, is just something awesome to watch at night when it's all 8 candles are lit up and it goes down the track. It's just a beautiful thing of poetry to watch in motion.
Jason is off and he got out of the groove. We sort of expected that.
Yeah, he got a little out of shape right off the starting line. It kind of unloaded on him, and he kind of headed a little left, but wisely
coasting.
backed out of it.
He's coasting.
Yeah.
Look at this. 71 miles an hour. He's coasting.
Yeah.
Okay?
No,
So-
wise move on Jason's part.
It is. Don't want to bash that car into the wall or anything like that, but it's sure nice to have Jason Duchesne, Rick, and Jason, Katrina, Neil Federley. Neil Federley, that's sort of a story there too. His uncle is
Bernie
Federley, who tunes John Force's race car, who happens to have the same sponsorship, Castro GTX, leading the points for 1999 south of the border.
That's right. So I know darn well there's some bit of the John Force, Bernie Federley touch in this car.
They probably communicate with each other, and I would imagine this footage will be sent down to go to Bernie Federley south of the border after the airing. And yes, the fans, they love it, waving at all their favorite drivers. We're going to take a break here right now and be back with more race action. Championship drag racing. We're at Labatt Raceway, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and the 1999 Snap-on Duels. Hot August night, and the action doesn't get any hotter than this. Round 2 of the jet cars. Stan Ankers with me in the announcer tower, and Stan, I think we're going to see a little bit more performance. It's cooled off just a little bit out there. The sun is
going down.
It's sunset now.
Yeah, it's going down. That means that the air's right, and the heat that's in the track is going to stick with it. And yeah, I expect that we'll see some performance here now.
I know the cameras are going to be flashing like crazy in the grandstands here as we get set to light these afterburners. And Chuck is first, Leland Blee, and Pacifier is next, and at the fire shows. Man, you got to like these.
Oh, no doubt, Gord, no doubt. As you can see, it is getting darker, and it is showing up more so than it did in the daylight.
Well, earlier this year, down in Montana, where Chuck Haynes is from, outside of Billings, they were at the Big Sky Balloon Fest. Now, you know how they have with the flames shooting up inside the balloon, and Chuck Haynes' jet dragster was there, just having a little bit of competition with the balloon. So it was
that would have been fun.
It would have been fun to see. No balloons here, but we've got some of the fastest jet dragsters in the western part of North America on the property here tonight. Burner pops now as they inch up. Actually, they've got a brake which they release, and they actually use the jet engine thrust to push them
forward. That's what pushes them forward.
Yeah.
It's not like your mechanically driven V8 cars.
Like a piston engine.
No,
it's just a turbine.
It's a thrust turbine, and actually a very simple thing here. Takes maintenance on them. I mean, don't get me wrong, but quite an easy way to run.
Low maintenance.
Low, yeah. Within reason, yes.
All right, here we go. Round 2 of the Jets. Chuck Haynes, Leland Blee.
Staging. There they go.
Well, Leland again gets the better reaction time over his boss. Chuck's got this car running great. A 597, 279.58 miles an hour for the win. Leland a 617. Looks like he may have shut her off early. 219.72 miles an hour. I know they're driving directly into, well, the sun is basically down now, but still there's a little bit of a glare, and sometimes it could be a little disconcerting for the drivers. Better be safe again.
No, that's true, Gord. Yeah, the sun, of course, with the way the track runs heading to the west, at certain times of the year, and this is the time of the year we're getting into it, where it is a little bit effective in that, and the drivers have to compensate for that.
Well, that's getting closer to track record-setting material there. Again, 289.20 miles an hour is the track record. So Chuck Haynes about 10 miles an hour off. He's got one more attempt to regain the mile-per-hour record here at Labatt Raceway. He already has the ET, set that back in 1997 with a 5.52. But with jet cars, it's kind of nice to have the mile per hour to go with the ET record as well.
That's true, Gord. Yeah, actually, I think they work more on the mile per hour, whereas the other drag racers, they look at the ET. That's the important thing for them.
That's the important number for them. But for jet cars, of course, speed, because a lot of people can relate more to speed than elapsed time. So how fast you go? 400 miles an hour. That sounds fast. How fast you go? 14 seconds. So see what I mean?
Well,
all perspective.
Just to put it in a little perspective, Gord, for the folks out there, you want to know what 5.5 seconds is like? Put it on your watch, time it, run as fast as you can for 5.5 seconds. Then just remember that these cars have gone down a whole quarter mile in that 5.5 seconds, where you've maybe gone 100 feet.
Great place to bring a date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fans are having a great time here tonight. Just a super crowd again.
Again, yeah, probably around 8,000.
It's got to be a record crowd.
Oh, it
here
has
tonight.
to be. Has to be tonight. Standing room.
It's the best one I've ever seen. They're lined up all the way down the end of the quarter mile. The stands are full, and they're standing up the rest of the way.
Well, our next two pairing of Jet Dragsters, the newcomers here to RAD Raceway in Edmonton. K.C. Jones from Van Nuys, California, and the Cannonball Express. Again, one of the unique Jet Dragsters on the property, and we've got a special treat as well. We've got an onboard camera on this car, and I'm hoping the footage works out well. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, okay?
Oh, I hope so, Gord, because if it is, it's going to be a treat for the folks out there.
Well, it's something new we are trying here at SHAW Motorsports, just to give the race fans who watch our shows on TV a different perspective, what the driver sees, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for this in-car camera footage. From Spokane, Washington, he was just informed about this race about 4 days ago, and he hopped in the van and towed up his Jet Dragster here, and Neil Hansen, and the brain-damaged Jet Dragster, and he's having a hoot. As what we talked with him earlier on, he's thoroughly enjoying himself here in Edmonton. He's hoping to be invited back, and I'm sure he will.
Yeah, no, I think they will be. I mean, and yes, like you're saying, Gord, we were talking to them a little earlier on there. They're just having a great time up here. They love the weather. I think it's like some Americans that do come up here, they don't realize that they always sort of think it's cold up here, but it's a hot one today.
It is indeed. Probably around 30 degrees Celsius when we kicked off our show. It's cooled off probably a good 5, maybe even close to 10 degrees now. So that's why we talked about the air.
Which is what we want for performance.
Yes.
This Cannonball Express, I just can't sort of say enough about it. It looks like an old steam engine if you get a real close look at it. The old 1800 steam engine. And they're right, they had performance too.
And the fire show begins, of course, to the capacity crowd's approval here at RAD Raceway. And hey, there's our in-car camera, City Audio Visual. Thank you very much. It's working. Now, no guarantees they're going to get their camera back in the in the same condition they lent it to us. But again, thank you, City Audio.
Gord, that was worth the price of admission there alone.
Well, better than having a man camera sitting on that car, I guess, eh?
That's true.
It is the Cannonball Express. Taking on brain damage as we go. Look at the bell. Oh, what a view. What a view. K.C. Jones and Neil Hansen, second pass of the Jet Dragsters here tonight. Autotrans Championship Drag Racing and the 1999 edition of Snap-on Tools. Hot August night. They come up to the start line, inching their way.
Eddie Shapka just waiting for them to get in there. Eddie's been doing this for a long time. Eddie's been doing this well over 25 years. Starter at the old racetrack up in the north end of town.
Like the Buster Couch of starters in Canada.
That's right. That's what Eddie is. And very good at it.
Neil Hansen getting the jump. Oh, K.C. Jones sleeping at the switch. Neil Hansen will win it. A 676, 242.78 miles an hour. K.C. Jones a 636. He had the faster ET, but his slow reaction time cost him. And look what we're going to do here. Here is a replay. This is on board Cine Audiovisual Car Cam. From start to finish on board the Cannonball Express, and what a view.
What a view, Gord. 6.36 seconds.
Here's what a 250
And here's the shutdown. Oh, this is just awesome.
I'm actually speechless at this view.
Yeah, Gord, I've been at the starting line and I've been up at the top end watching these cars come at you. But
Safety Safari of RAD Raceway at the top end of the racetrack.
Dave Bateman there, yes. Yeah. It's just a different view that I've never seen before.
Yeah, you can see the jump that Neil Hansen got on K.C. Jones. And Jones tried all he could to make up for the reaction time difference. Not going to do it.
No, unfortunately, that quarter mile comes up way too quick. Here we have Darrell Webb in his bumper-to-bumper Corvette.
The blown alcohol funny car of Darrell Webb. And again, he started out pro, super pro, and then he went into the super pro class in this exact race car.
That's
and
correct.
And then he put the blower on it.
Stepped it up, kept stepping it up, yeah.
Now running consistently in the 7.5 to 8-second range.
And maybe we're going to get a treat of his nickname, the Burnout King.
Well, you can see him just finishing the burnout there. Jay Maggio doing his burnout now, and that blown altered. Jay Maggio, well, he's won some of the big races. Back in 1995, he won one of the biggest bracket race payouts in Edmonton at the Big Bucks brackets. I think they're around $5,000 to win in that race, something around that. But the 97 Canadian National Open winner. And in Super Comp, because Jay used to run Super Comp.
That's true, yeah.
Speed can be addictive.
It is, and it is with Jay.
Yes.
He just likes to keep going faster and faster. It's the nature of the beast.
Well, he took last year off, didn't he? And
hang on, we got a problem here. They're shutting him down for some reason or other. Something has happened there.
Is that Eddie there with the flashlight?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Unfortunately, we've got a malfunction of some sort here.
Well, we'll find out what the deal is on Jay Maggio's car. They are pushing that race car back. Darrell Webb should be entering the picture here in just a couple of moments. His burnouts are just, they're unbelievable. They sometimes last almost the length, a quarter-mile burnout.
Quarter-mile. He's known as the Burnout King. A few races back this year down in Calgary, he was challenged by a fellow out of Montana for the Burnout King, and Darrell showed him who's the boss.
Well, just to show you how popular Darrell Webb is, he was invited to an oval race at Edmonton City Center Airport for a CASCAR stock car race a while back, and a halftime show. It's Darrell Webb in a funny car at a stock car race doing the burnout for the race fans. And motorsports is motorsports. If it's got an engine, 4 wheels or 2 wheels, hey, nothing beats it.
No.
So tough break. Doggone it. For Jay Maggio, he is done. He sits, if you could only read what he's thinking right now. He's looking on at Darrell Webb in his Corvette Alcohol funny car. That's too bad.
Yeah, it is.
It's the biggest show of the year at Labatt Raceway. You want to perform for the fans.
Word has come down that his header on his left-hand side of the motor let go and came loose.
Well,
for that reason.
Darrell Webb is off and running, and Darrell Webb clips the 8-mile marker. If he clipped the quarter-mile marker, we would have got the speed. 8:34, 154.24 miles an hour for Darrell Webb. Yikes, he got out of the groove a little bit, kept his foot in it, and then started lurching us towards the center of the racetrack.
Maybe it's just as well Jay didn't run side-by-side with him in this run.
It's a possibility that those two could have come in contact with each other. So you can see the roof hatch popping up on Darrell Webb's alcohol funny car. He's sort of going, uh-oh, what happened there?
Well, they'll just check out, make sure he's all right. Because he could have had some tires.
Here's the replay.
Look at him coming over the center line, and boom, there goes the 8th mile.
Pylon goes for a ride as well. Tough break for Darrell Webb.
He's fighting her here a little, Gord.
Yes, he is. But then again, it's nighttime.
Doing a super job of driving it out.
Yeah, indeed he did. Darrell Webb out of Edmonton. Looney Bin Racing Team. They're going to push Jay Maggio's car back to the pit area. They got to replace the 8th mile marker, so it's going to be a perfect opportunity for us to take a commercial break right now. Back with more race action.
Guys there, he's got his game face on and he's ready to go.
Betcha he is. Now, one thing that, well, we've had a lot of night races here. You and I have worked at this facility, since day one, 92, 93. And nighttime races, around 9:30 at night, the dew sometimes settles over the racetrack, and it makes things just a little bit slick sometimes for these drivers. So right now they're prepping the racetrack, getting ready for these high-powered race cars because, well, you don't want these guys driving on, well, sort of a skating rink.
No, that's right, Gord. Even though it's a dew and it feels nice and everything and it's cool, it is detrimental to these cars because they need all the traction they can get.
Well, interesting that they're now fired and they're ready to go down here, get these tires nice and warm so they get the bite that they need to launch off this concrete race surface down the track.
Yeah, because the heat will still be in the track there, okay?
Yep.
But they still got to get the tires to the performance and to the point where they need that, and get the combination of the two of the heat still in the track and the heat on the tires and the VHT, which is a very sticky substance. If you were to walk over that, if your shoes aren't buckled on or tied down well, you're going to walk right on. As many racers cohort has found out.
Yeah,
all of a sudden
is wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
These high-powered race cars. For stats fans, just to pass along your way, the top alcohol dragster record at this facility, Labatt Raceway, Bernie Plurd from Kent, Washington, 578, and there's our in-car camera view again from City Audiovisual.
Just super pictures with it.
249.37 miles per hour is the speed record in the top alcohol dragster class here at this facility. So the burnout's complete. Tires are nice and warm, and so you can see the crew leading each of these drivers back, and they try and position their cars right on the rubber that they laid down during the smoky burnout.
Oh, that is a very critical point,
Yeah.
Gord. They got to get back into that same groove that they laid down. Otherwise, it's an aborted run. It's just a wasted run.
Just over 500 cubic inch motors in both of these top alcohol dragsters, pumping out around 2,500, maybe kissing the 3,000 horsepower mark. Good shot there of Serge Dion again, wanting to even this against Steve Sitko.
Yeah. Serge, a local contractor here in Edmonton.
They're going to inch up to the start line now. Little lights on the Christmas line start tree tell them when they're pre-staged, then staged. We'll get into that and maybe another broadcast of NHRA drag racing here on SHAW Motorsports. The RPMs will come up. And away they go. Steve Sitko at 430. He is out in front. And see that flash?
Yeah, something happened there, Gord.
Boom. 748. He coasts to a 138.93 mile an hour win. It could be a costly victory for Steve Sitko. Serge Dion, a 998. He shuts her down. 777.96 miles an hour. I saw a flash and I heard a boom. I would think
that might be the burst panel that went out there,
okay,
Gord. I'm not 100% sure,
right.
but that sure was indications of it.
Yeah, not a good sound whatsoever. Let's take a look at the replay here. And I do believe, yes, we are going to get a finish line shot. Watch this. Boom.
Boom, right there.
There's your flash right there, and all the power is gone right now. It's just momentum that's carrying them across the finish line.
What that burst panel does, Gord, is it, if the blower builds up too much pressure in there, it bursts it out so it doesn't grenade it and shoot it out like shrapnel all over the track and over the fans in the stands.
And we've just been informed there is some oil on the racetrack there. They cleaning it up as best as they possibly can, okay? But with the dew that has sort of settled over this racetrack, they have figured now that it's not going to be wise to let these piston-driven race cars drive down the left-hand side. Safety conscious. You can see a little bit of grease sweep laid down right by the pylon in a sort of white, powdery-looking substance. So they've laid down some grease sweep there, but unfortunately, the race director feels that that left lane is not safe. But we earlier on in the broadcast, match racing, okay, we got the funny cars, okay. Normally, we'd have a final, two funny cars side by side going down the drag strip. But
due to safety concerns.
For the interest of safety, yes. No, they're not going to be running side by side. Roger Bateman and John Evanchuk are in the final, okay, but they're going to be doing single passes. It's too bad that we have to do this. Well, we're not doing it, but we're going to cover the runs here by the finalists. Roger Bateman out of Calgary, Alberta. It would have been neat to have a Battle of Alberta drag racing style. Calgary versus Edmonton. We still will, okay?
Yeah, that's true, Gord. Actually,
numbers.
In a sense here, it's maybe even a little more of a true battle because both cars will be running down the right-hand side, and whoever runs the quickest, you know, because sometimes the lanes can be, one can be a little quicker than the other, have a bump in it that affects your performance and that.
Well, sole concentration now is on a single pass, so you don't have to worry about it with the guy to the left of me or to the right of me. So it's just sole concentration here. So sheer performance, okay? This is the final, part one. I think that's how we're going to word it, okay, Stan? Yeah. Roger Bateman from Calgary, some final checks.
Actually, Gord, even if it was a side-by-side run, these drivers, they don't even think about the guy in the other lane. They run their own race and do what they have to do, and what happens, happens. We see it as a side-by-side run, and yes, there is an eventual winner, but they really just run their own race, and they don't worry too much about the guy in the other lane.
Up to around 6,000 horsepower, or 6,000 RPM right now, 3,000 horsepower, and away goes Roger Bateman, a 609. He is flying a 607. 234.49 miles an hour. You want to know something? He's only like 4 miles off his own track record, and running at night to boot. Boy, he was hooked up.
This is why he's a defending Division 6 champ.
All right, it would have been neat to see a side-by-side run for the final, but it's kind of neat because we can sort of focus everything on just one car, and we can watch all. No tire shake this time.
It's going to be interesting here because if you looked at his reaction time for Roger, he was a day late. He was sleeping.
Yeah, 6:09 is not good because the perfect light is in the force.
Which tells me, because he knows the situation's a single run, he's probably concentrated not on the light, but on the ET. And he got a super ET out of that car.
Well, here's the other half of the final. Remember, we got the problem in the left-hand lane with the oil down from Steve Sitko's top alcohol dragster when he boomed the motor. So, but that's okay. It's kind of neat where you get to see the single car run. John Evanchuk out of Edmonton. Okay, he was number 2 on the runway. I guess we can call it that as far as ET during the first round of our match race eliminations here tonight at Labatt Raceway. So 6:07 is what John Evanchuk is going to try and beat.
Yes, and he knows he's got to beat that. That's the thing here.
That's right.
This is on his mind right now as Wayne Barber's backing him up here.
Good value. Nice t-shirt.
Crew member Owen backing him up, and Wayne just putting him where he wants him.
Yeah, again, we talked with Wayne earlier on in this broadcast.
Just last minute check here.
Wow, these cars are so computerized nowadays. Like they just they plug in the main. There's a main board on these cars. They get to tell you how hot each cylinder is running, and one's running lean, one's running too rich, and that it all comes down to tune-up in the end here.
Well, it makes it easier on the crew chief tuning up the car now. He has much better knowledge of what has happened on the last pass.
Beautiful race car.
As opposed to, just beautiful car that John and Ruth own here. This car is out of the States originally when John and Ruth bought it a few years back.
This car's been over in Japan, too.
Yes.
So it's a well-traveled race car, yes. So John Evanchuk hoping to beat 6:07. Can he do it?
I don't know, but I think the Wolf is going to howl tonight, Gord.
RPMs come up. John Evanchuk is away. Look at the reaction time of 4.78.
Super reaction.
About 150 miles an hour at half track at the finish line. Well, not quite. I think he slowed down. 643 ET, mile per hour, 188.32 miles an hour. Yes, indeed, he did slow down. He was about 150 miles an hour at half track. And we talk about tire bite, okay? Watch the sidewalls just crinkle.
Just wrinkles right up and lays that whole tire tread down. Well, actually, there's no tread. It's flat.
That's right.
Just lays it right down.
You can see the dew as formed on the racetrack. We were talking about that earlier, and also visibility can be a problem, too, as they just remove the blanket from the windshield of Glenn Whitehead's race car. This could be a bonus run. We decided, Glenn Whitehead... No, actually, he did so well. He was so close to making it into the final. But Glenn Whitehead's going to do a run for us right now, and we're going to cover it here on SHAW Motorsports Auto Trans Championship Drag Racing.
Getting back to John. John's got nothing to be ashamed of there, okay? I mean...
Not at all.
You put it on a ratio, the time that John's been doing this as opposed to how long Roger and Bob have been doing it, and John's doing quite well for himself, and... How to go there, John. Good run.
Do you ever remember the movie Fast Company back in 1978?
I'm not going to date myself that much.
Okay. Actually, there's a lot of members of the CCHRA, the Capital City Hot Rod Association, which, by the way, is celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. And a lot of them have cameo appearances in that movie from 1978, Fast Company. And this race car is sort of named after that movie.
That's right.
Fast Company alcohol funny car, Glenn Whitehead, out of the province of Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I do remember that movie, Gord. You did have to bring it up, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Back in the old Speedway days, and yes, I was there, and I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'd see me in the background somewhere there. A little more hair on my head, a little shapier around the waist maybe, but...
Well, Glenn Whitehead, the long haul from Grandeur, which is really just outside of Saskatoon, about 30 miles, and that's where he sets up tent and calls home. And he's probably very, very happy about being able to come out here to Labatt Raceway and show his stuff for the capacity crowd in attendance.
Yeah, that's true, Gord. I was up at the top end last year when he was just running the car, and it was starting to come on and run some good numbers for him. And he ran John Evans' truck, actually, that race. He lost, but he was just ecstatic. We almost had to haul him back down onto the ground.
Well, we had him on TV last year, and when we had our first ever drag race on SHAW Motorsports, he was in the final against John Evans' truck, indeed, and it was a close race.
It was.
You could have put a piece of paper between the two. It was that close to finish.
No, I remember that run, especially Glenn at the top end. He was just so happy.
Glenn White headed away. Yeah, a little bit of tire spin, but now, oh boy, he's picking up speed now. Look at him. A 684. The mile per hour is sure up there. 211.31 miles an hour. I think he lost his elapsed time when he
when the tires let loose,
a little bit, because you lose your ET if you lose traction. The mile per hour, you can make that up with horsepower.
Right. No,
but
that's
it's
true.
the elapsed time again. If you lose traction, well, your ET, your elapsed time is all out the window, and you just hope to have a stout enough motor so you can put up the big numbers in the mile per hour area. Replay. Glenn Whitehead heading down the racetrack towards our finish line, and I have to put a hand together for our crew here at Labatt Raceway. It's been a very busy day for them, and a lot of them have been here now going on, well, several hours now. And
right now it's maybe not that bad for them because it's cool, but boy, earlier on in the day,
it was a scorcher. All right, race fans. This is going to be the final pass of the night for our jet car competitors. This is why they call it Hot August Night. You betcha. It will light up the nighttime sky here as we get the afterburners fully lit. We've got Chuck Haynes taking on again his good buddy out of Billings, Montana area, Leland Blee, driving the pacifier. Chuck Haynes been driving. Wow, this was the first ever track that Chuck Haynes raced at. He told us that in the interview that you had with him at the start of our show here.
No, I remember him coming up, and he enjoys coming back here.
Yes, he does.
And such a super fellow to have back. I mean, you ever get a chance to, when he comes back up again, to go and talk to him, go talk to him. Really nice, pleasant guy.
Well,
just super.
It's funny how big his little company has grown, because it really is a company, Haynes Racing Enterprises.
Yeah.
He started out with one jet dragster, and then all of a sudden he had the finances to buy two, and then he's getting phone calls. He's going down to Australia for the third time now. He'll be down there in February of the year 2000. He's going to be actually down in Australia for almost a month and a half, racing from coast to coast. Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Willowbank. So he's looking forward to that. It's just amazing. He just started off on a whim. I want to go racing, and it's just grown to where he's so busy now, he almost has to turn tracks down.
So what are you doing in February, Gord? I think I know where I'm going to try and go and head.
Wouldn't that be neat? It's summer down there when we're freezing up here.
It's the middle of winter here.
You got it.
Oh,
you got it. Final pass. It's tied one apiece, actually, between Leland Blee and his boss in Gravity Storm, Chuck Haynes. And we'll see what happens here. Again, 300 miles an hour, okay? It's possible. Chuck Haynes laid down the pass, his last pass, only 10 miles off the actual track record. He ran about 279 miles an hour last pass. The current track record, 289.20 miles an hour. He would surely love to leave Labatt Raceway with a new track record in his name on the speed end of things. He already owns the ET, the elapsed time record, of a 5:52. Now, if you're wondering, okay, well, why are we running two cars in both lanes? Like, we didn't have the funny cars. Okay. We did the funny cars in only one lane. How come we're doing jet dragsters in both lanes now?
Here we get back to the thrust.
Yes.
And because of that, we can run the jet dragsters. That is an advantage with having the jet-powered vehicles out here.
There's no transmission in these things. It's purely thrust.
And
the rear tires aren't going to spin.
They'll be able to handle that little problem that's in that left-hand lane. With
a little greasy. It's a little greasy, but the jets should be able to handle that. We'll keep our fingers crossed, okay?
Oh, I've got no doubt they'll handle it, Gord.
Okay, well, that's good.
The tires and the wheels are there just to hold the vehicle basically off the ground.
And here is our in-cars camera shot again.
Go for it. Go.
And we are firing Leland Blee's jet dragster. You can see the switch gets those turbines are rotating.
And here we go. Here's what the people came for.
Man, these camera shots are surprising even me here tonight.
The people are starting to get up and get off their hands, and they're standing, and they're just getting a stack because they know what's coming.
About 18,000 RPM. That's how fast those turbines are spinning in those jet engines. Again, these cars weigh about 1,400 pounds. Now you put about 11,000 horsepower on a 1,500-pound car.
Hey, look at this.
Oh,
unreal.
This is great. Cine Audio Visual, again, thank you guys for providing us with an in-car camera here tonight. Autotrans Championship Drag Racing.
Are they eating it up, or are they eating it up, Gord?
It's a great family event, the Snap-on Tools Hot August night. The entire family's enjoying the show because that's indeed what it is.
Yeah, the facility out here is just really a nice one to be at. And the nice thing about drag racing, there's no age restriction to coming in the pits and seeing the stars.
You get to see the cars up close. Talk to the drivers. Sometimes they will even let you sit in their race cars.
That's right. We're unfortunately over in the oval side because of the situation there, and that they have to put an age restriction on people getting in of 16 years old. But,
that's during the race. After the race, anyone's allowed in.
That's true.
Yeah,
after the race, anybody can come in and that. Yeah. But even during the race here on the drag strip side, you can go down the pits and see the cars that you like, talk to the drivers, and they love to talk to you.
Fire show is now over. Leland Blee, Chuck Haynes inching up to the start line. Again, 289.20 miles an hour. Chuck Haynes is going to try and set a new track record on this pass. He was close last pass, running 279. Does Gravity Storm have enough in it for a new track record? There's that in-car cab.
We're going for a ride, Gord.
Chuck Haynes cruising, 475 reaction time. I saw a couple of pops. 6 seconds flat, 264 even for the win. Blee runs a 628, 250.34 miles an hour. I saw a couple of flashes come out from behind Chuck Haynes' jet dragster. Yes. There may have been some misfiring going on.
I believe so, Gord. I'm sure something happened there because that wasn't a typical run for these two cars.
So that's too bad. I was hoping we were going to get a track record tonight, maybe 300 miles an hour. It'd been nice to have on SHAW Motorsports, man, for the first ever jet car performance on television in Western Canada. And we have it here on SHAW Motorsports. Here's the replay. You can see the afterburners fully lit as they head down the racetrack. Keep an eye on the flashes in the left-hand lane. There's one. Yeah, we got problems there. That's slowing him down. Boom, 2.
And yet he's still leading.
Yes, it's pure momentum right now. There's another flash. So yeah, and
something was happening.
See the color of the flame even changed too near the end. So yeah, there were some problems with that race car, but still, what a run. Chuck Haynes, Leland Blee, up from Montana, and they definitely love coming to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and RAD Raceway, and we hope to see them again here next a little bit. They're racing down in Australia, and boy, going down under where it's nice and cold here, hot temperatures down there, man. Good luck, guys, down there. SHAW Motorsports here in Edmonton. Well, this has been quite the monumental broadcast here at RAD Raceway on SHAW Motorsports, Autotrans Championship Drag Racing, and Stan Ankers again. We've had the best seats in the house.
Yes, we have, Gord. But it's not over yet.
No.
Still got 2 more to go.
The newcomers, first time ever here at the track, and they're going to go home with some fine memories of all the race fans here at the facility, and of course knowing that their performance was shown on TV. We've already said, Gord, I hope you are going to send us a copy down to Spokane, Washington, and Van Nuys, California. That's where these two drivers are from. Casey Jones in the Cannonball Express in the far lane from the Great Bear State.
Yes.
Van Nuys, California.
Just looking at the fans there, Gord.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just ecstatic. They've had a good night.
Yeah, you betcha they have. Best entertainment value for your money. You betcha.
Oh.
Look at the rubber. The rubber is glowing red from Casey Jones' afterburner. Look at that.
It's actually caught on fire.
Yes. Isn't that something? We've got Neil Hansen from Spokane, Washington, and brain damaged in the near lane. He ran very good that last pass. Remember he said he had problems with the first pass?
That's right.
Got the problems figured out. The car is around 250, 260 mile an hour car. Fire show's now complete for both drivers. Now going to inch up to the start line. Casey Jones impersonating the old locomotive there. Chug, chug, chug. God love it.
With that little bell. I love that bell, Gord.
Bill Wild. So they're going to inch up to the start line, and away they go. This is the final pass here on our broadcast
Of one hot August night.
Let's listen in. Casey Jones in the fours for reaction time of 4:99, on fire down the track, and he runs a 6:55, 247.66 miles an hour for the win. Neil Hansen running a good run too in the sixes at over 230 miles an hour. And what a run by those pair. We're going to take a look at the replay. Watch the smoke get sucked into the intake of the Cannonball Express there of Casey Jones. Both drivers flying down the track. They are safe at the top end of the racetrack.
Some great stuff on the 1999 hot August night. Now, 1 year later, 2000, the weather gods were not with the racing fraternity in the year 2000 up here in the Edmonton area at all. This year, I think in 2000, set the record for, at least in my memory, events that were rained out. There wasn't a lot. It was a very rainy spring and summer in Edmonton during that time, and that caused a lot of scheduling headaches, as it will do in that situation. And what had ended up happening was the NHRA Canadian Open that the track used to host every year, just basically a mini version of an NHRA divisional with Wallies and that stuff. It's a specially named thing for Canadian tracks up here because we don't get divisionals on a regular basis. That got rained out, and they had another opening in the schedule. The opening was the hot August night day that year, that one Wednesday in August, and so the NHRA Division 6 crew was like, all right, let's make a Canadian Open out of it. It was a solid day of racing, folks. I remember going out there as a little guy with my dad and checking this thing out. And I think the gates opened at 9 a.m. that day, and we left shortly after midnight that night. It was just wall-to-wall. Morning was all time trials, and then right into eliminations afternoon with, the alcohol dragsters, alcohol funny cars, federal mogul dragsters, and funny cars going on. And as you can tell, there was a lot of carnage in this video and that stuff that was starting to add up with cars in both classes, with guys missing the call and that stuff towards the end of the day. But this remains one of my favorite events of all time, and it was this event that track officials packaged with this broadcast and sent down to IHRA headquarters back in 2001-ish, I think, late 2001, early 2002-ish, to help get the IHRA sanctioning and later the IHRA national event that would take place at Budweiser Motorsports Park, now RAD Torque Raceway in Edmonton, which is the Rocky Mountain National. So this is kind of, genesis of what would to become. And of course, you take a look at the improvements slowly being made to the facility in this video in the background. It's fun to watch the background and see what's there and what's not there anymore in that situation. So folks, sit back and enjoy, and I'll come back at the end of the video and sign off. But enjoy the 2000 Snap-on Tools Hot August Night NHRA Canadian Open, as was broadcast on SHAW Motorsports Channel 10 in the capital region.
And the search for Wally begins tonight. Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Budweiser Motorsports Park, SHAW Motorsports, and Trilenium Industries Championship NHRA Drag Racing, bringing you exclusive coverage of the NHRA Canadian Open and the Snap-on Tools Hot August Night. What a race we have for you here tonight, race fans. We've got 15 classes of race cars sitting in the pit area. I hope we have enough time to bring you all the race action, semifinals and finals for sure in most of the classes. And we're going to start up next here with the Federal Mogul, Top Alcohol Funny Cars, and Dragster. Race fans, this is Trilenium Ministries Championship Drag Racing and coverage of Snap-on Tools Hot August Night and the NHRA Canadian Open right here on SHAW Motorsports. High above in the announcer tower, I'm Gord Craig. Joining me, Stan Ankers. Stan, what a night of racing we have ahead of us.
Oh, we do, Gord. I mean, the weather's just been beautiful today. That'll make the track just come around right and everything here, hopefully. And it's just going to be a great night of racing.
Well, we've got a little teaser for you at home, race fans, that we've got some pro-alcohol funny cars. Darrell Webb, the king of the burnouts, getting ready to light them up right now. And he'll be taking on Jay Maggio in the Prospector.
Yeah, these two here are running the 750 funny car class, and Jay's car, of course, it's the only one of its type in Canada, the 57 Chevy Bel Air, and the 82 Corvette of Darrell Webb.
Yeah, it's just going to be a great deal. And of course, Darrell is doing burnouts for a charity again here tonight.
And Darrell, of course, he is known as the king of the burnouts, and again, he's
showing another reason why. But hey, Jay Maggio actually is no slouch either at burnouts, because this is a brand new car for him for the 2000 season, and he's really getting the hang of it rather quickly.
Yes, he is, Gordon. And what's happened with Jay, of course, it's a very quick learning curve for him this year, and he's come along exceptionally well. I mean, he's met the challenge, and of course, with Darrell giving him throwing the glove down and that and challenging him, Jay's come along quite well this year.
Well, the pro-alcohol funny car class that we have here, that we're seeing here tonight, just the two cars showing up, a teaser for the race fans, as there's a group of about 12 or 13 of them that travel to tracks in Western Canada, and they slip into the States every once in a while, too, on strips down there.
Yes, they do. Matter of fact, in a couple of weeks, they're going down to Mission, Darrell and Jay are.
Okay, well, that's good. So a little bit of a test and tune for them. But at the same time, there's no such thing as test and tuning when you're coming to racing against your buddies. And these two drivers off the track, our buddies on the racetrack, well, they want to show each other up.
That's true. Up until the bulbs are lit in the pre-stage and the stage, they're the best of friends. They're very good friends. They always together quite a bit. But when the lights light up, it's a different story.
Darrell Webb in the far lane, Jay Maggio in the near lane. We are set for exhibition racing here in our pro-alcohol funny car class. Good to have Cine Audio Visual on board once again, providing us with some different camera angles for tonight's show.
There they go.
And they are off. Darrell Webb, Jay Maggio. Darrell Webb out in front, but here comes Jay Maggio, going to try and make a race of it. At the finish line, it is Darrell Webb picking up the big win. He cruising at around 180 miles an hour, both these two drivers. And sorry, race fans, we were supposed to have some information for you on the screens. Reaction time, elapsed time, mile per hour. Didn't happen. Hopefully we'll get that situated and fixed up for you for our next pass of funny cars, which is the Federal Mogul funny car. This is semifinal action. We talked with one of the drivers earlier on. And Stan Ankers, for some strange reason, I've got a craving for an Eat More chocolate bar. We're going to head into the pits right now. Driving the Eat More Top Alcohol Federal Mogul funny car from Humboldt, Saskatchewan, Kevin Therese. Kevin, of course, what a night for night number one of qualifying here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. You set your best ET mark here at this facility.
Yeah, it was really exciting. We ran a 6:12 at 2:26.98, and the car was really good, holding the track well, and we were really happy to do that for Eat More and Mac Tools, you bet.
Now, Kev, a lot of frustration on drivers for the 2000 season, mainly because of rainouts. No momentum building whatsoever.
Absolutely, and of course, we don't want to be like the farmers and complain, but actually the rain has hurt us.
Now, of course, that's what you do. That's your regular job. This is the fun stuff you do on the weekends.
Yeah, actually, I'm an ag mechanic, a heavy-duty mechanic at a shop. I work every day, and needless to say, we hear that from the farmers about the weather. So,
well, Kevin Therese, good luck tonight at the NHRA Canadian Open, and hoping maybe you'll bring home a Wally.
Well, we're hoping for that too, and we hope the best for all our competitors.
Good luck in round one.
Thank you very much.
And right now, we do move into round number 2 action, Stan Ankers. And hey, look who's coming up. It's the number 1 qualifier, Roger Bateman in the near lane.
That's right, Gord. And this is the one that the other 3 are shooting for. Over the winter time, they put more into the car. They put more equipment into the car, upgraded in that, and they're out to take Roger out tonight.
Well, there's a good close look at the Mopac Showdown Top Alcohol Funny Car of Roger Bateman. Each and every Canadian Open event that we've run here at Budweiser Motorsports Park, a new track record's been set. Last year, Roger Bateman set down a stout 587, 238.15 miles an hour, and he owns both ends of the track record here at this facility. But the track tonight, though, a little bit greasy. We've got an easterly wind.
Yeah, and I don't know what we can see here. We'll just have to wait and see. It's like you say, Gord, it's a little greasy, and the guys have been in the first round a little all over the track, and it's going to be interesting the second round.
Well, sure nice to see Cine Audio Visual on board once again with some unique camera views here, as we do have a start line finish camera for the remainder of our show here tonight, as we take a good look at the burnout. Burnout's very important for these 2,500 horsepower machines.
Yes, Gord, they have to get these tires sticky. I mean, they're very wide, and the idea is to get everything planted right off the starting line. Very important. And if it doesn't happen, they could go up in smoke. So the burnout is not a show. It turns out to be that way, but the main purpose is not a show. It's for go.
Well, the tires get heated up to about 800 degrees Fahrenheit, nice and sticky, so they adhere to the concrete launch pad. In fact, all of our competitors do have to do burnouts, a very vital part of a quarter-mile run. Well, Danny Fillion in the far lane in the Snap-on Tools sponsored the Federal Mogul Top Alcohol Funny Car. We saw him license on this show a few years ago, and boy, has he ever come a long way. So it's a Fillion and Bateman, round number 2. One of these two cars goes to the final. RPMs come up right now.
Again, Danny spent a lot of money and time over the winter time just for this run right here pretty well. Let's see how he does.
While both drivers are away, Danny Fillion cuts the better light. Reaction time, oh, so important, but Roger Bateman will get the big win, a 6:35, 226.70 miles an hour. Danny Fillion, a 6:89, had to slow her up just a little bit, 197.28 miles an hour. Well, Roger Bateman goes to the final here.
That's why he's still the man to beat. You know, even though he had the worst reaction time, he's still going down the track. The driving came out, his experience in that, and he won the race.
So Roger Bateman and crew will head back into the pit area and put the wrenches to that race car as they get set for final round appearance on our broadcast a little bit later on in this program. And Stan, the crowd here at Budweiser Motorsports Park, they know a good race when they see one. That's why the crowd's out tonight.
Yes.
As we say, look, actually, Danny Fillion had probably a good 10, 20-foot lead, and then he had to back off, got out of the racing groove a bit, and Roger Bateman in the replay going on for the big win. Our second pairing of funny cars, we've already talked with Kevin Therese, the number 2 qualifier, taking on the number 3 qualifier, and John Evanchuk out of Edmonton. One is a 97 Olds Cutlass, the other a 97 Chevy Lumina. The Eatmore sponsored funny car against the Husky Red Wolf Top Alcohol Funny Car of Evanchuk. Let's watch these drivers heat up the hides, I guess we can say, Ray, with the Goodyear racing slicks.
Yes, Gord. This should be a very good race. John, over the winter time, along with Kevin, has spent a lot of time and a lot of money, and there's been a lot of preparation in the last few days here. So, you know, it's hard to see. I have to put my money on John on this one, but I'll tell you, Kevin's come along this way this year.
We talked with John Evanchuk earlier on in this broadcast in the pit area. Some stressful times right now for the Red Wolf Top Alcohol Funny Car team of John Evanchuk out of Edmonton. The first round, you may have hurt something in the car.
Well, we're just doing some routine maintenance, and we've had such little time between rounds here, things aren't cooling off too good, so maybe it's just heat related and we got extra clearances that we're not usually aware of.
It's been a tricky track to control here tonight, of course, so you probably wish you qualified just a little bit better.
Yeah, the track's been not there. It seems like out in the middle of the track it's not there, so we haven't been able to put a whole bunch of horsepower to it out there where we would normally run big numbers with this motor.
Now, A lot of people are anticipating a Battle of Alberta final between yourself and, of course, Roger Bateman out of Calgary.
Yeah, well, that would be great. You know, we'd love to get against Roger again in the final and see if we can redeem ourselves from last year. But, you know, Kevin Therese over there in that Eatmore car, boy, they got that thing running good. And we got to get by him first, so we're not looking at Roger yet.
Stan, if there is ever an opportunity for an upset, this is it for Kevin Therese. He ran a 6:22 in round one. John Evanchuk ran a 6:45 in round one. Kev would love to put John on the trailer right now.
Oh, yes, he would, Gord. And yes, you're very right. If there is an upset, this could be it.
The Eatmore Top Alcohol Funny Car. Mac Tools, another proud sponsor in there, taking on John Evanchuk in the Red Wolf Top Alcohol Funny Car. The RPMs are up. Here we go. Is there an upset in the making? Well, John Evanchuk has answered the call, a 5:38 reaction time, and he wins it, a 6:41. Ooh, we've got some motor problems, looks like, with Kevin Therese, a 6:75, 186.29 miles an hour. Evanchuk running 218.92 miles an hour. So he bumped up at the performance just a little bit, and enough to take out Kevin Therese out of Humboldt, Saskatchewan. So it will be the Battle of Alberta. It was anticipated, and John Evanchuk will be taking on Roger Bateman in the All-Alberta final. Tease of the day here at Budweiser Motorsports, part of the NHRA Canadian Open, hot August night. Mike Coffini up from Spokane, Washington, qualifying earlier on today, and you did a number on your race car.
Yeah, we left the line, went into a wheel stand, got the wheels about 4 feet in the air. I just shifted to second gear, and right about then it broke the rear end. So came down kind of hard, and unfortunately we don't have spare parts to fix it for this race, but we'll be there in Calgary for the weekend.
That is too bad, because you ran so well a couple of weeks ago down at the big AHRA race in Seattle, or Spokane, wasn't it? Spokane, yes. That's your hometown. You run it up there, but you're hoping for a big showing here.
Yeah, our car's making good power. Hopefully we'll get a chance to get it all together for Calgary and show you guys what this thing's got in it.
Well, thank you very much, though, for coming to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and you're going to be a spectator, you and your crew, for the rest of the night.
Yeah, we'll be working, too, but we'll be back here for next year's for sure.
And we've got the cars coming up to the start line right now, but Stan, we do have some cars missing, unfortunately. What's happened is Serge Dion, after his winning run, he broke, and he's not going to be able to make the call to face Bill Edwards Jr., and therefore Bill Edwards will get the single into the final.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate break for Serge. Actually, we got word from the pits that what has happened is they possibly spun a bearing.
Ouch. So you got to yank the motor and everything.
So that puts you out right now.
You're done. So Serge Dion can't make the call. So Bill Edwards Jr., boy, this has been a rough race for Top Alcohol Dragsters. We had Mike Coffini just finished the interview with him, breaking his car, and, well, we're not going to get a stout run right now from Bill Edwards Jr. either. I think this is a smart move on his part. You can see the reaction time. Ouch, a .400 is a perfect light on the Pro Tree. So Bill Edwards Jr. is just taking a, well, Wednesday night drive down the strip into the final. Crosses the finish line at 20.48 at 50.19 miles an hour. Bill Edwards Jr. goes into the final.
I'm suspecting he's hurting a little, Gord.
BJ Edwards or Bill Edwards here at Budweiser Motorsports Park for the 2000 Canadian National Open and hot August night. Track a little bit tricky during qualifying.
Yeah, it was. We were here about 3 or 4 years ago and had problems. So the first qualifying lap, we went real safe on everything and made it down. Actually, pretty happy with the way we made it down. The second time, we just being safe and actually slowed down a little bit. But we feel pretty comfortable getting down the track, I think.
Well, that's the name of the game right now, is getting down the track. And who you're facing in round number one, of course, if they don't get down the track as good as you, well, you're going to be on to the next round.
That's right. A lot of the qualifying times right now are so close, so it's going to be anybody's game. Of course, a faster qualifier gets to get his lane choice, but we've made past both lanes now, and we feel pretty comfortable.
Wow, Stan Ankers, mechanical gremlins hitting our Top Alcohol Dragster field. Leo Grocock from Mission, British Columbia, sitting in the pit area right now. He's done for the day, so Steve Sitko gets the single run and looks like he's going to baby it down the quarter mile as well. He doesn't want to take a chance. Smart. Bill Edwards Jr. didn't want to take a chance either. Very smart.
Yeah, they're conserving their parts for the final, for the big run. There's a question on whether they should give it or not, but there's different opinions of this.
Well, here is our ladder for the final here, race fans. Steve Sitko, your number 1 qualifier, goes to the final. He was supposed to meet Grocock in round number 2, didn't make the call. Grocock broke. Serge Dion was supposed to take on Bill Edwards Jr. from Sumas, Washington. Dion didn't make the call, so it is a U.S.-Canada final. Steve Sitko from Edmonton, Bill Edwards Jr. from Sumas, Washington. Volcano, Gravity Storm. What's going on? You're pulling a fast one on here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park. Chuck Haynes.
Thank you. It's great to be back, Gord. Yeah, we've slipped a little one in on you guys this time. We bought a brand new car out here. This is the debut of the Volcano jet car.
So this is the first appearance in Canada, first appearance on TV as well, and first appearance for the fans that are packing the grandstands here at Budweiser Motorsports Park.
It is. It's actually the first appearance of the car anywhere, both in the United States and in Canada, as we know it as Volcano. It's a brand new car for me.
Now, the difference between your Volcano Jet Dragster and Gravity Storm, what are the main differences?
Well, actually, both cars were built by the same guy, which makes it really nice for me. I can climb in either car, and I'm comfortable in either one of them. However, the new car is a little lighter, about 200 pounds lighter. There's a few tricks that have been done to the compressor section on that Pratt & Whitney J60, and it's making for some awfully quick times.
Now, we talked about this last year, hoping to see maybe closing in on the 300-mile-an-hour mark. Is that possible tonight?
Well, I'd sure like to think so. I won't promise anything. The air is still pretty warm here, and the shutdown area is a little short here, the braking area. So obviously the first run I'm going to ease into it and shut it off a little early, and we'll see how easy we get it stopped. As the night goes on and it cools off and the air gets a little better, that's when we're going to see the big numbers, and we're certainly going to try.
Well, Chuck Haynes, good luck in the brand spanking new Volcano Jet Dragster here at the hot August night here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. Well, you gotta love jet cars, Stan Ankers, and we're gonna be seeing from Chuck Haynes in the brand spanking new Volcano in just a couple of moments. But what's that I hear? I hear a train a-coming.
Yes. Our buddy from down south from California.
From Van Nuys, California, Casey Jones in the Cannonball Express. Of course, he made his debut on television in the Edmonton area last year on SHAW Motorsports. And, of course, making his debut on our first show of the season in 2000, Brad Januszewski from Drayton Valley.
That's right, in the C-Tech Energy Services Rolling Thunder car.
Yeah, C-Tech, of course, proud sponsor of the Rolling Thunder. Of course, you need sponsors. We need sponsors. We just went through moments ago to bring you the television coverage here. And, of course, you need sponsors to run a race car.
That's right. Even though these guys are paid to come to the track and everything, they still need sponsors. These are very expensive cars and that. And Brad and Heather, they're so happy to be back here since the race a month ago here. And they're just looking forward to running again tonight.
Well, Brad Januszewski in Rolling Thunder, and it's a 2000 Monte Carlo is what the body is. And the jets here that we have on the property that you'll be seeing here tonight on SHAW Motorsports, race fans, around 11 to 12,000 horsepower each. It's the thrust, actually, is what it's measured in, and it's around 6,000 to 6,500 pounds of thrust, and anywhere between 11 to about 12,000 horsepower.
Yeah, it's just amazing what these cars are doing. And of course, now this year, NHRA's allowed them to run over 300 miles an hour. Before, they were kept under that. And of course, Chuck wants to
You never know with that brand new car.
Yeah.
500 pounds, 400 pounds lighter. Chuck Haynes holds the ET record here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. 5:52. Doug Doth, a jet dragster competitor from California, ran 289.20 miles an hour here at this track back in 1997. Will we see 300 miles an hour tonight? I'm keeping my fingers crossed. My money's on Chuck Haynes in the brand new Volcano jet dragster.
Yeah, if anybody's going to do it, it has to be Chuck. But Casey over here, he might have something to say about that, too.
He could do around 280, 290 miles an hour as well. And I was just looking at a sheet that Casey Jones handed me after the interview that we saw, or that we'll be seeing a little bit later on. And
the fuel mileage is not the best in these jet cars. About 105 gallons to the mile is the fuel economy of these jet cars. We are starting up the cars right now. Let's listen in. We've got a smoke and fire show for you. Turn up the volumes on your TV at home, race fans, because here we go. It is Brad Januszewski crossing the line, a 696, 221.45 miles an hour for the win. Casey Jones, a 6.6 something. Obviously, our clock's messing up again. 209, there we go, 6.66 second run. We had to use the scoreboards here at the racetrack. 209.64 miles an hour. Januszewski winning round number 1 in the jet cars here against his buddy up from the California, Casey Jones.
Yeah, and of course Brad, local homeboy out of Drayton Valley, he put a number on the reaction time there to Casey.
Well, we've got our second round, or second pass, I should say, of our jet car competitors. We've got Chuck Haynes in the debut of Volcano going up against Pacifier and Leland Blee, a driver up from Billings, Montana. In fact, Blee and Haynes are actually teammates. Chuck owns the Haynes Racing Enterprises. He has 2 jet dragsters under his fold, and he travels around to different racetracks. Of course, he and Blee were down in Australia. They rung in the new year down under, going down the quarter mile at around 280 miles an hour. So that was a neat experience for both Haynes and Blee. Well, there's a good look at the brand spanking new Volcano jet dragster of Chuck Haynes. And a little bit apprehensive prior to the event here tonight. It's a brand new car, of course, and he's just worried about how it's going to perform here tonight. Of course, he ran south of the border when he bought this car, 315 miles an hour in a couple of checkout passes. So you betcha. That's one of the reasons why I'm saying, and we've been saying, that we could see an over 300 mile an hour pass here tonight.
Yeah, that's true, Gord. If you look on the far side with the Pacifier car, the fellow that's helping him there tonight is Jeff Goodwin out of Red Deer, Alberta. Actually, Jeff went over to Australia with these guys and spent the winter.
That's right, he
Jeff
did too.
is a well-known drag racer involved with the alcohol funny car here, and it's been around for a long time.
Well, Leland Blee has been around the sport of drag racing for a long time. Began racing at around the age of 15. He raced an old 52 Ford. And then he's been involved in nitro cars, both front and rear, actually fuel dragsters. So Leland, he's been around the quarter-mile scene for a long time. And when he got the phone call from Chuck Haynes about 4 years ago, hey, how would you like to race a jet dragster? Leland definitely jumped at the chance, and here he is tonight.
He's paid his dues, so to speak. He's been in different categories, been in different cards.
Yep.
And understandably, having a fun time doing the jet car thing now.
Well, I was just taking a look at the staging lanes. How come there's no cars there? There's no one sitting and standing around in the staging lanes. Well, for a good idea, obviously.
There's a very good reason they're not standing there, and we'll see that in a few minutes when they light them up. You don't want to be standing back there. It's a safety factor.
No.
The stuff they blow off the back of their exhaust and that. If you're standing there, you could lose your eyesight.
Yes, you can. We've got one jet car dragster fired, and that's Leland Blee and Pacifier. What's going on with Chuck Haynes' Volcano jet dragster? It's not going.
Sometimes your days just don't go right. You have a bad hair day, whatever, and for some reason they can't get that car started.
Well, we see one of the helpers coming
here comes
over
Jeff.
from.
He's going to come over and see if he can give him a hand. Also, there seems to be a little concern of trying to get it fired up.
NHRA officials are heading on over. I see one of our starters, Eddie Shapka, heading over there as well. And yeah, it looks like they are looking underneath the jet dragster of Chuck Haynes. Something is not going. They can't get this thing fired.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a fuel distribution problem or maybe a starter problem. We hope to have some information for you race fans at home watching this and what is going on with Chuck Haynes' Volcano jet dragster. This has got to be a very frustrating time for Chuck right now. He's basically a perfectionist, and any little thing that doesn't go right drives him absolutely crazy.
And here he is with his brand new car. We know it can run over 300 miles an hour. He loves running in Edmonton. He loves the fans up here. They're just great with him and everything, and he wants to put on a show. I can imagine he's very frustrated at this moment and that, but this is part of drag racing. Sometimes you have these problems.
That's right. I love the paint scheme on this new jet dragster. And,
it's beautiful.
Some conversation is going on right now between Chuck Haynes and one of his crew members.
Now, the one nice thing here, Gord, is these are jet cars. They're not piston driven. So the other jet car sitting over, the pacifier car sitting over there, he's not being burned down. If this was a piston driven situation, they would have waved the other car ahead in already. We see Chuck getting out.
He's getting out of his car.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
It is really too bad. Not the debut he wanted for this jet dragster, but they'll be back with a fire show. Get out of there, guys. Yikes. There's the starter being tossed in the back of the tow vehicle of the Volcano jet dragster. So they're going to go back into the pit area. Maybe it is a starter problem. Who knows? We hope to have some information for you, race fan. But in the meantime, Leland Blee will get the single in the Pacifier jet dragster. Chuck Haynes' car will not make the call, and so Blee will get the single. That's too bad. That's very disappointing. I was hoping that
Chuck will get it straightened around for the
will.
next run of the night here.
Indeed he will.
Unless it's a major thing, he'll have it corrected, and he'll come back with more vengeance than before.
Indeed. Blee comes up to the start line. You're going to see the smoke and fire, full afterburners. Away he goes down the quarter mile. At the finish line, a 6:42, 212.86 miles an hour. Leland Blee takes round number 1 between he and Chuck Haynes in the jet dragster class. So yeah, a tough break for Chuck Haynes, but they'll head back into the pit area. We hope to see him back for round number 2 a little bit later on in this broadcast. Well, race fans at home, it's been an incredible day so far here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. The racing started at 11 o'clock this morning, and we're bringing you all the semifinals and the finals as we see the replay of Leland Blee heading down the track. We are back with more race action here on SHAW Motorsports right after this. And welcome back, race fans. Trilenium Industries Championship Drag Racing and exclusive coverage of the NHRA Canadian Open. Snap-on Tools Hot August Night. Our first look at Top Comp semifinal action right now.
Yeah, Gord, this is a new class that they're actually, it started last year. They tried it at a couple of tracks in our division, and this year it's full-fledged in all the events in our division, and they're trying it out, and eventually they hope to make it across the whole of North America in all divisions. Typical drag racers, they want to go faster. The racers approached NHRA and said, hey, can we have this class? Here's how we'd like to do it. And NHRA said, sure, let's give it a try, and it's just working out really well.
There's a good look at Brian Adams in that 96 Firebird. Adams out of Leduc, your number 2 qualifier in the time trials earlier on today, taking on Kevin Bertram out of Airdrie in the rear engine dragster. Bertram, your number 4 qualifier. Dialed in, Bertram on an 812, Adams a 777. Don't go faster than that. Reaction time, oh so important. Bertram, a 5:59 reaction time. You'd think that was going to be good enough for a win.
No way.
Oh, no. Adams comes from behind to steal the victory away. A 7:89 on a 7:77 dial-in time. Bertram running an 8:62 on his 8:12 dial-in time. A dial-in time, Stan Ankers, that evens up the field just a little bit. It's the anticipated run down the quarter mile. That's what a dial-in time is, race fans, if you are brand new to NHRA drag racing in this top comp class.
Yeah. Now here we have 2 dragsters. Matter of fact, dragster that we're looking at right now, that's Brian Adams' old car.
Oh, it is. That's right, too. But it's Terry Cameron now behind the wheel out of a Kalmar. Your number 1 qualifier. He went the fastest in time trials earlier on tonight. He's going up against Mark Campbell. Mark Campbell definitely loves this class. Super comp racer, numerous track championships at this facility. So Terry Cameron definitely has his hands full in this semifinal round. Campbell is dialed in with an 8:08. Cameron, a 7:53. A perfect light is .500. Campbell is away first with a 5:33. Cameron, the better reaction time, with a 5:24 at the finish line. Campbell runs an 8:10, but Cameron, look how close he was to his dial-in time, a 7:54, 176.36 miles an hour. Terry Cameron picks up the big win. I would consider that a little bit of an upset.
Yes. Again, look at the reaction time. There's where the difference was. The horsepower picked up in the top end for Terry, and he got Mark. Both good racers, both from the Supercom ranks, but excellent race.
And coverage of Snap-on Tools Hot August Night and the NHRA Canadian Open. Stan Ankers joining me up in the broadcast booth. It is a semi-final time, Stan, in the Super Gas class.
Yes, Gord. 2 Ford Fairmonts. One from Calgary, one from Edmonton.
Well, Dave Archambault is one of the competitors up from Calgary in the near lane, and Scott Hearn in the far lane out of Edmonton. Scotty Hearn would sure love to make it to the final, but hey, it's shown with Dave Archambault. Reaction times on the board, a 4.62 to a 5.02 for Dave Archambault. Index for Super Gas is 10.11. Don't go faster than that. A 10.13. Reaction time, one of the reasons why. Scotty Hearn, he crossed the finish line first. He had the better reaction time, even though he was not closer to the index. And Scotty Hearn, as you can see him, will just ever so slightly, leaving the start line quicker than Dave Archambault from Calgary. So that's one half of the Super Gas final. Scotty Hearn. And who will make up the other half? We'll find out here in just a couple of moments as we have the drivers coming up to the burnout box area right now. And Brad Decker is one of those competitors out of Sherwood Park. Brad Decker.
Eddie Pleasure in the far lane.
Eddie Pleasure in the far lane. Eddie Pleasure hoping to make it 5 Wallies tonight with the win. But he has to get by Brad Decker, who is a huge, huge competitor here at this facility. Reaction time on the boards, 4:00 is a perfect light in the Super Gas class. Look at Eddie Pleasure. He won't be giving any ground at all to Brad Decker. A 10:11 is the index, and a 10:19. Brad Decker did all he could. The slow reaction time definitely hurt him. Pleasure crossing the finish line first, a 10:19 on the 10:11 index. Pleasure will go to the final in the Super Gas. So Eddie Pleasure, one step away from winning yet another Wally.
Yeah, well, Eddie this year, he started out very early. He's probably got more racing this year than some guys have in 2-3 years under his belt. He's been down in the States back when the snow was still on the ground here, and it showed up here.
Indeed, almost a car length, actually, yeah, but a car length lead for Eddie Pleasure, winning it right at the finish line over Brad Decker. Well, you just mentioned something about snow. What is this? What is this?
Yeah. Don't give your eyes a rub, folks. This is a class that's been around for a couple of 3 years now that NHRA brought in because of the popularity of snowmobiles, not only up in Canada, but in the northern states. And these guys wanted to race them, and I'll tell you, they're making them fly.
This is Lance Baker out of Calgary on that 96 Formula sled, going up against Tim Ryerson from Calgary on that 78 Suzuki drag bike. So it is sled taking on motorcycle, and the sled has the quicker dial-in time, so 9:90. Ryerson moving the line first. A 4:83 reaction time, Baker. An 8:58. That's going to be almost impossible to make up that slower reaction time. Ryerson will cross the line first. Closer to his dial-in time is actually Baker, but Ryerson wins it with an 11:30. Lance Baker runs a 9:93, 126.83 miles an hour. Tough break for Lance Baker, but if he was a little bit quicker on the start line Christmas tree, maybe he could have picked up the big win against Tim Ryerson. Well, Tim Weed, one of the winningest drivers in these past several seasons at this facility, gets the bye run into the final. A reaction time of 5:09, dial-in time 10-second flat. He runs a 10:08 at 129.87 miles an hour. So Tim Ryerson from Calgary taking on Dave Weeb of Edmonton. Hey, a Battle of Alberta on the bikes. And we'll be seeing the final in the motorcycle class a little bit later on in this broadcast. So Stan Ankers, the sun's starting to set. As you can see, it's sort of blinding us here in the tower. Is it going to be a factor for the drivers at all?
Yes, it could be, Gord. Just depending on how low it gets here. A lot of the guys have the dark visors and that. They've raced here before. They'll compensate for it. But yeah, it could possibly be a factor, but I'm not really overly concerned about it. Although maybe the drivers are.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Steve Adams, who has been the track champion here at this facility, he was the 1998 Super Comp champion. He's one step away from heading into the final here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park. This is Super Comp semi-final action. Tony Ellett in the far lane from Edmonton. A 9:09 is the index, and a red light for Steve Adams. So that gives the win to Tony Ellett. Tony Ellett wins and will go into the final. Steve Adams, a rare red light from him. Tough break and not the best way to end your night of racing.
No. Steve with the two cars out of Campbell Automotive, Mark Campbell being the other driver. These guys have dominated basically this Super Comp field, but you know what? They threw the glove down. The guys have taken the challenge, and Tony's come up for it, and it's his night tonight.
Well, Tony Ellett used to race a Super Pro pickup several years ago, and he decided, hey, I want to go just a little bit quicker. That used to be, it used to be a top alcohol dragster.
That's right.
Of
way back in, I believe, the late 70s, early 80s.
That's right. So Randy White He gets the bye run into the final.
Now, this fellow here, Randy, out of Calgary, cuts beautiful lights.
Oh, he does
He's taken about a year or so off, but he's come back this year, and I'm telling you, he's put the fear in the rest of the guys.
Well, look at the light, you just mentioned it. A 4.29 reaction time, a 4.00 is perfect, a 9.09 index. And he runs a 9.12, 149.22 miles an hour. Randy White, part of the Dirty White Boys racing team, says, hey, I'm ready for a challenge. Tony Ellett, I'll see you in the final a little bit later on tonight.
And that should be a good final, Gord. Experience here, Randy been around for a while, Tony just around for a couple of years, so very interesting final.
A little tidbit on Randy White. He won one of the first nighttime events ever held at this facility back in 1993 in the Nitro Hunt. So Randy White is ready to go. Well, we've seen this car before, Stan Ankers. Our last broadcast on Fox Hunt 2000, Adolf Sabarin was the big winner, and he's hoping to make it to a final round appearance here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park.
Yeah, here we have Chrysler versus Ford, Mustang versus Demon.
This is the pro semifinal right now, race fans. Bart Mason from Calgary, Alberta, and that 71 Dodge Demon. Adolf Sabarin out of Edmonton, 67 Mustang. Dial-in times are on the board at 12.30. Concentration on Adolf Sabarin's face, 12-second flat dial-in time. Both drivers are away. Mason has the better reaction time of 5.77 to Sabarin's 6.01. Can Sabarin make up for the difference? Can he? At the finish line, both drivers break out. Mason breaks out less at 12.28 on his 12.30 dial-in time. Sabarin breaks out more with 11.96 on his 12-second dial-in time. So, Bart Mason out of Calgary makes up one half of our final in the pro class. Who will make up the other half? And we hear the warm-up in the background. Terry O'Connor, Rod Havens.
Here, Gord, if you looked at that shot we showed of Adolf, the sun was just in the face. I think the sun maybe made a difference. Adolf and Bart both usually cut real good reaction times, but with the sun coming at it, the angles, I think that made a difference there.
Well, here's a good look at a track champion going back a few years ago here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. Rod Havens from Airdrie, always a tough competitor, 12.59 dial-in time. And in the pickup, that 83 Ford Ranger, Terry O'Connor and Rod Havens. Oh, Rod, a red light. His day is done. So that means Terry O'Connor gets the easy win into the final. Oh, he's lucky that Rod Havens, red lit, he broke out. Terry O'Connor, 12.77 on his 12.78 dial-in time, 99.59 miles an hour. And Terry O'Connor out of St. Albert will definitely make note of that and make adjustments.
Yeah, and in this case, Gord, here, both of them had an infraction, but the first infraction is what counts.
Yep, the red light.
Terry got lucky.
Yep.
If that's what you want to call it, but he's in the final.
So it'll be a Ford Dodge final. Bart Mason out of Calgary taking on Terry O'Connor out of St. Albert. And it's going to be a very, very exciting final in the pro class here this afternoon. Super Street. This is an indexed class. We'll see the index here in just a couple of moments. 11:10. It's 11:13 is the index. Randy Motorshawn taking on Fred Schwab. Semifinal action right now, race fan, in the Super Street class.
Now this class here, Gord, it's a heads-up class, but it doesn't go on a 4/10 light. It goes on a 5/10 light.
5.00 is a perfect light. Right. And Motorshawn 5.28 with Fred Schwab. Oh, a tough break for him. Red lighting again, not the way you want to exit your day here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. Motorshawn runs at 11.20 on 11.13 index at 131.21 miles an hour for the win. Randy Motorshawn makes up one half of the final here at Budweiser Motorsports Park tonight. Craig Bickle, a driver who made the long haul from Vancouver Island.
In a beautiful 67
Isn't that a
Camaro.
gorgeous car? Indeed, that is a gorgeous car.
It's almost a shame to see this car running down the track. It should be just...
Well, pretty soon, this is probably going to be the only place we'll be allowed to see these cars running down the track with the price of gasoline right now at the pumps. Bickle, 11:13, a 5.40 reaction time. The index, as I mentioned, an 11:13. This looks like a test and tune pass for him. He's going to just see what the car will run.
Yeah, he can. That's all right that he broke out because it was a single, okay? He can do that. He can red light, whatever. The only thing he can't do is cross the center line or hit the wall.
11:10.
So, yeah, it was a test and tune. And again, he's come a long way. He doesn't know this track as well as some of the other guys, so he's getting his chance to check it out.
Super Pro semifinal action right now, and we've got Lance Unterreiner on the racetrack right now. He's got the bye into the final. It's a 69 Charger, 5:39 reaction time. He's dialed in at 10:74. Let's see how close he can get to his dial-in time. He goes faster with a 10:69 at 124.82 miles an hour. He obviously knows he was running unopposed, so maybe he's trying a couple of things out with his race car.
He is. Also, what also is happening here, Gord, with the sun going down, the air's getting better, and the guys are kind of just missing their dial-in a little. It's very hard to get that dial-in dead on where you want it.
Well, he may adjust his dial-in time for his final round appearance a little bit later on in this broadcast. We'll have to wait and see if he indeed does that. But Lance Unterreiner out of Ardrossan makes up the one half of the final. One of these two drivers will now go to the final, and who will it be? Gary Triffle out of Edmonton in that 71 Nova, 454 under the hood. Didn't this used to be Darrell Webb's old race car?
That's right.
I think it is.
That's what Darrell Webb started out in.
That's right. Rob Reed from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan in that 71 AMC Javelin. Dial-in times on the board. Triffle at 10:15, Reed at 10:58. Try and get as close to that mark. Don't go faster. And a red light. What's with all the red lights?
I think there's part of it's the anticipation of nerves. It's a big race, very important race, and some of these guys are going further tonight than they've ever gone before.
True.
And the further you go, the closer you get to being in the final.
Well, Triffle, this is his first final round appearance in ages. Triffle, out of Edmonton, will take on Lance Unterreiner a little bit later on in this broadcast. And our last broadcast, we had a little bit of nitromethane. Why not tonight? And one of the newer competitors in the Top Fuel motorcycle side of things, we're going to be seeing from him in just a couple of moments as we watch the replay. Gary Triffle and Rob Reed. And, of course, it's all for nothing because Rob Reed red-lit at the start line. In the far lane, it's Gary Triffle picking up the big win. And Triffle, as we mentioned, will face Unterreiner in the Super Pro final. One of the winningest riders on two wheels. He won 3 track championships in the motorcycle class here, 93, 94, 95. Kevin Boyer out of Edmonton took some time away from the racetrack, and he shows up at the beginning of this season with a 700 horsepower Top Fuel Harley Davidson.
Here we go, Gord. Like I say, these guys, they're not content with going the speed they're going after.
Nope.
Well, they got to step up. And Kevin's a very good example. He took a bike that was very, very well prepared, very successful with it. Now he's gone into the Nitro Harley fuel ranks. And it's going to be a learning curve for him this year. It won't come easy.
No, it will not. He's test and tuning right now because the Harley Davidson of Edmonton All Bike Drags is actually coming to this facility
in a few weeks.
And he's getting ready for it. Kevin Boyer out of Edmonton is going to light up the rear tire for us right now because, of course, you need traction at the start line. It's a cement concrete launch pad, and the rear tire will adhere to the surface. Let's listen in for the burnout from Kevin Boyer on his Top Fuel ride. Gotta love the sound of these bikes. It sure looks good, and it is, well, for show to a point, but a burnout definitely serves a huge, huge purpose. Kevin Boyer was saying in the passes that he has done so far this year, they're learning a little bit each and every time. They're not perfect. He says we're far from doing 180, 190 mile an hour pass, but right now they are content with just getting down the track and keeping this 700 horsepower motor together.
Yeah, and Gord, Kevin's actually a guy that's adapted to this bike quite well. His size, I mean, he's going to have to fight this. He'll make it look easy. He's going to fight it. And he's got the size, the strength, and everything, and he'll do good. I see great things for him in the future on this bike.
Leans it out just a little bit. Yeah, and that affects his ETN mile per hour, an 874, 123.66 miles an hour for Kevin Boyer. But a few years down the road, hey, maybe with his team that he has behind him and the sponsor, Ace Manufacturing, maybe next year we are going to be seeing 170 mile an hour pass.
Next year we'll see better things. This is a learning year. The curve is a big one to learn.
Just it was his first year on the wheel of on the regular stock bike. He had 3 track championships to his name. Top alcohol dragster competitors lined up at the start line. Let's talk with one of the finalists.
Driving the Trillium Industries sponsored Top Alcohol Dragster and the #1 qualifier here at the NHRA Canadian Open. Snap-on Tools Hot August night. Steve Sitko out of Edmonton. Feels pretty good sitting on top right now.
Yeah, it sure does. We did it last year, and we're hoping to hold on to it this year. So,
pretty stout field of Top Alcohol Dragsters here for tonight's big show.
Yeah, it's nice to see. It's been a few years since we had a full field of cars, and it's going to be fun racing them.
Of course, last time Shaw was out, you did have some mechanical problems with the race car. Like an $80 part, I guess, is what did you in for the night. Things running very, very stout so far.
Yeah, we're just playing it safe and trying to... Battle of the fittest is what I'm calling this today. Whoever lasts the longest is going to win the race. So.
Well, whoever keeps their car together is going to win the race. Wow, it's been quite the night for our Federal Mogul Top Alcohol Dragster competitors, just keeping their cars from breaking. And the two that have done the best, Steve Sitko, who we're looking at right now, what concentration. The concentration right now, just look at his eyes. As he's staring down the quarter mile, which what he is hoping is to be a victory. But if he looks over his left-hand shoulder, he sees Bill Edwards Jr. from Sumas, Washington, hoping to do just the same.
Yeah, gives a little thumbs up to us with the camera here and that. But he is concentrating. You have to. Things happen too quickly.
Well, how they made it to the Top Alcohol Dragster final. Sitko was the #1 qualifier. Bill Edwards Jr. out of Sumas, Washington, your #3 qualifier. Unfortunately, the #2 qualifier, Serge Dion, broke in round #1 and couldn't even make the call against Bill Edwards Jr. in round #2. So as the ladder shows, Edwards Jr., Sitko are meeting in the final, and we've got that for you right now, race fans. And the early advantage definitely will have to go to Steve Sitko, but right now with breakage, and it's anyone's game. It is anyone's game. Steve Sitko lighting up the rear tires on his Trillium Industries sponsored Top Alcohol Dragsters, one of the many proud sponsors on that race car.
Okay, Gord, now here the sun should not be a factor. It's gone down enough. There's a little bit of cloud cover actually. So the sun should not affect them with the tree.
So Bill Edwards Jr., this is another American, a Can-Am final, I guess if we can call it that. So Steve Sitko out of Edmonton, Bill Edwards Jr. from the state of Washington. Martin Sjogren, hoping he's got the tune-up right for Sitko's race car.
Yeah, even though Sitko's from this town here, Steve's from Edmonton and that, lived here all his life and that, his brother Kenny's involved with Serge Dion and the other Top Alcohol car. He wants to win it. You know, he wants to not have the Americans come up here and upstage him or anything like that. So we should have a very good race here.
Oh, look at we got a big storm coming in. We keep that quiet for now, but that's quite the thunderhead as we look west down the quarter mile over the packed grandstands here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. Race fans, I hope you're enjoying the coverage thus far. This is Trillium Industries Championship Drag Racing and coverage of the Hot August night and the Canadian Open. This is your first final of the night here on television. Junior, Edwards Jr., Sitko. The RPMs are going to come up as they get close to the start line. The RPMs come up to around 3,000-4,000, and then they will stage the car and then head down the quarter mile. Edwards Jr., Sitko, final right now. Well, Bill Edwards Jr. cut the better light. Steve Sitko gets by him just about the 1,000-foot mark and takes him for a win of 6:28, 209.93 miles an hour. Mile per hour is very close. Bill Edwards Jr. from Sumas, Washington, a 6:54, 207.27 miles an hour. But look at the reaction time. Bill Edwards Jr. had a slight advantage, a slight lead right off the start.
But if you look in the replay here, hold the wheels, Steve did. But Steve just outpowers him going down the track. Steve's got the horsepower in his car tonight. And there it is. Beat him by a car length at the end.
Car and a half length lead as the capacity crowd looks on here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. So congratulations to Steve Sitko winning the big trophy here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park. But also congratulations to Bill Edwards Jr. up from Sumas, Washington. He survived, which was indeed an expensive day for a lot of the other competitors here at the Canadian Open Snap-on Tools Hot August night.
Yeah, he's got nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
It's, you want to win, but hey, next to winning, runner-up's the best.
That's right. Jet car time here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. The second round of action here as you have a close-up look at Casey Jones in the Cannonball Express. What a competitor he is, and what a character as well for those of
a lot of fun.
For those race fans that were here at the facility tonight and managed to go down into the pit area and talk to some of these competitors. One of the more colorful characters is Casey Jones from Van Nuys, California. And the old cow catcher on the front. This is one of the more unique jet dragsters in North America. And there's the newest funny car in Canada, the only jet funny car in Canada. C-Tech, RigSupplies.com, sponsored 2000 Monte Carlo of Brad Januszewski out of Drayton Valley. While they are coming to life, and just in time too after that commercial break, the proud sponsors of this Trilennium Industries Championship Drag Race Night on SHAW Motorsports and the coverage of the Hot August Night NHRA Canadian Open. The cars are being fired in the far lane. It is Brad Januszewski out of Drayton Valley, and Stan, he's come a long way in a short amount of time. He only got his license in November of 1999.
He only built the car 6 months ago, finished the completion of 6 months ago. So him and his lady friend Heather, they have done marvelously with this car. They should be very proud of what they've done. And we talk a lot about Brad and Casey and that and all the drivers of that, but I'd like to talk about Heather here for a moment. She works very hard in the car with. It's just her and Brad mostly. Brad's got some help tonight because he's got some of his hometown fans from Drayton Valley out here, man. And but Heather, Brad tells me going down the road, she's in the books reading about the car, reading things, checking things, and she's very integral part of this car. Actually, he gives her more credit than he has in the car. He says, I just get in and drive. She tunes it.
As we go on board, Cannonball Express again, Cine Audiovisual, thank you very much for the unique view that we have here at Budweiser Motorsports Park tonight, and for the race fans at home checking in on the action, Cine Audiovisual in Edmonton. Again, thank you very much. And, we should mention, of course, Casey Jones. He helped Brad Januszewski get his exhibition license. And Casey Jones, what a competitor. What a character, I guess. You have to be to drive a choo-choo train cruising at about 260, 270 miles an hour.
Casey just enjoys life to its fullest extent.
He does. He does indeed. Well, the drivers are going to come up to the start line. You're going to see, as we have this rather unique finish line view, we're going to carry the finish line view all the way right to the finish line, race fans, from this camera vantage point. Cars will come up to the start line. You'll see the pre-stage bulbs illuminate on the Christmas line start tree. That means the drivers are about 6 inches away from having their wheels directly on the start line. They will move that 6 inches to illuminate the second level of bulbs, and away they go. Oh, Casey Jones cruising 270-some miles an hour for Casey Jones. Brad Januszewski around 235 miles an hour.
Odd man out here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park, Snap-on Tools Hot August Night, and Brad Januszewski, you're the only jet funny car here up against 3 jet dragsters. What's going on?
That's right, Gordon. Usually we race the jet dragsters. Richard Smith and I are the only 2 funny cars in the Pacific Northwest or in the West Coast.
Now, Richard Smith, driver, the Warhawk.
That's correct. So he had another date for this particular day, and we're out racing the dragsters. We do it quite frequently.
Now, the disadvantage, I guess, with the funny car is you got to cut just a little bit more wind than do the dragsters who slipstream down the track.
That's right, Gordon. That's add the weight of the body and everything else. It's like it has a lot less aerodynamics. So what I try to do is get out on them a little quick, try to leave on them and make them catch me.
iTech, proud sponsor of your Jet Funny Car. What do they do again?
SeaTech Energy is a rig supply and manufacturing company, and they have some service rigs. And we just now welcome rigsupplies.com on board for the rest of this year, and we're looking forward to good things from them next year.
Well, we'll be seeing Brad Januszewski and Casey Jones for the final pass of our broadcast and the show here at Budweiser Motorsports Park a little bit later on. And the good news right now, though, Stan Ankers, is Chuck Haynes. Looks like they've got the problem corrected, and it was. We were kind of guessing it might have been a starter. It was the starter. And so what they've done is they've had to do a little bit of tinkering in the pit area in between rounds to get the starter to actually spin and get the turbines of these jet motors engaged and rolling to fire this race car. So that's good news for Chuck Haynes and the crew of the brand spanking new Volcano Jet Dragster. Of course, the car that's running very well is in the far lane, and that's Leland Blee in Pacifier. Both these two drivers from Billings, Montana. And we're going to hear the whine of the turbines here in just a couple of moments.
Yeah, I knew Chuck would come back.
Yeah.
You know, unless it was a major thing, I knew he'd get it fixed. And again, he loves the crowd here. He loves to perform in front of them at Budweiser Motorsports Park.
Well, this is one of the first tracks he performed at professionally back in 1993 with the original Gravity Storm, which, of course, we've been used to seeing over the past couple of years on SHAW Motorsports broadcasts. And like I mentioned earlier on in the interview, he did pull a fast one on us and the racetrack by bringing this brand spanking new jet car to this facility and making its, well, Canadian debut, its North American debut in front of a packed crowd here at the track. Well, both cars are going. That is good news for Chuck Haynes. Time now for the fire show. Let's listen in. We're going to let the cars do the talking for just a couple of moments as Stan and I enjoy the view up here in the announcer tower. And Leland Blee takes out his boss again, a 628, 140. We got problems in the far lane. Leland Blee goes off into the sand trap area, Stan Ankers.
Yeah, the safety crew up at the top end saw he was going too fast. Decided to put him in there instead of him trying to make that corner. Just safety fast. Everything looks all right though, Gord.
That's good, but an 837, 172.5, 1 miles an hour for Chuck Haynes. The ET off just a little bit, but the mile per hour sure beats his first pass, which was 0 on both sides of the fence.
Yes.
But I'm seeing a ton of smoke billowing behind Chuck Haynes' car. I never saw any flame.
Yeah, so Chuck, again, must be having the new car blues in Edmonton here, unfortunately for him.
What's happened to, well, one of the reasons why I think Leland Blee went into the sandbox area, where they got the car out now, but I think he had problems with the chute. chute did not fully deploy, actually, on that pass.
Let's watch that a little closer here.
This may be the reason why.
Here we go.
There's the chute being deployed into the flame. He burned out a couple of panels on the chute, and that definitely will affect your ability to slow down. So a tough break, and we've got all the finals coming up for you next. We've had the Top Alcohol Dragster final. The rest of the field next. Our second final of our broadcast on the track right now. This is the Sportsman ET final. In the far lane from Custer, Washington, it is Chris Brandt. He's dialed in with a 13.64. Brian Chayka from Hinton, Alberta, dialed in with a 15.34. Brandt has the better reaction time. Brian Chayka will be better looking over his left-hand shoulder because Brandt just might track him down at the finish line, but Brandt slows up. He slowed up to a 13.76 on his 13.64 dial-in time. Brian Chayka crosses the finish line first, closer to his dial-in time, and that's all you need for the big victory, the big W. Brian Chayka wins it.
From Hinton, Alberta. Yeah, all you have to do is the math there. Brian was a little late, but he caught up to him and did it better close to his dial-in, and that's why he won.
So about a car length, car length victory there for Brian Chayka from Hinton, so he is your sportsman winner here tonight. Time now for the Pro ET final. We saw the semifinal just moments ago, and here are your finalists. Driver from Calgary in the far lane, then at 71 Dodge Demon, it's Bart Mason warming up the hides on that 83 Ford Ranger. Terry O'Connor out of St. Albert. Mason, O'Connor, final in the Pro ET. Dial-in times are on the board right now for you race fans. Mason at 12.27 dial-in time. Terry O'Connor at 12.78 dial-in time. O'Connor will leave the line first. The perfect light is 5.00. You want as close to the 5.00 mark as possible. O'Connor, an unbelievable reaction time with a 5.14. Mason was sleeping with an 8.05. O'Connor basically has this thing in the bag. He does. But, he breaks out. He breaks out big time.
It was his to win, Gord. It was his to win.
It was his to win, but he loses it, breaking out at 12.07 on his 12.78 dial-in time. Bart Mason will say, thank you very much. This was not mine to win here tonight, but that's part of bracket racing where the slower vehicle can pick up the big win. Again, a dial-in time is what you think your vehicle will cover the quarter mile in, and Terry O'Connor thought wrong.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Terry's truck picked up and
where did that come
got
from?
Something out of somewhere. I'm sure he'll be
kicking himself.
Yeah, he'll be kicking himself quite well, but nothing to be ashamed of. Runner-up.
Congratulations, Bart Mason out of Calgary, Alberta, winning in the Pro Final here tonight. Let's move it up just a notch to the Super Pro Final. You can see on the windshield there, a 10.68 dial-in time will be displayed on the finish line scoreboards for the race fans in the grandstands, and for you at home, it's on the screen. Lance Reiner from Ardrossan, that 69 Charger, taking on Gary Triffle out of Edmonton. 10.15 dial-in time for Triffle. I think this is the first round appearance, or first time appearance in the final round for both these two drivers.
That's right, you're correct. Yeah, they've been racing for quite a while. First time they've been in the final in a big race.
On TV. Red light, Reiner. That gives the win, the blue W, to Gary Triffle out of Edmonton, a 10.15 dial-in time. Let's see what he runs just for the heck of it. A 10.25, 133.13 miles an hour. His reaction time, though, Triffle is very fortunate that Reiner red lit. But Triffle is your Super Pro winner here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park.
Yeah, a little bit of the nerves for Lance, and I'm sure he was very tense behind the wheel. It'll be interesting to get an adrenaline meter on these guys when they
it's off the scale. It's off the scale, but a driver who is cool as a cucumber in any particular race, 5-time track champion in the far lane out of Sherwood Park. It is Ed Matajewski in that 71 Nova, sponsored by Competition Chev Olds. In the near lane from Millet, it is Ron Scott in that 68 Camaro. Ed Matajewski, he won a Wally, I think it was last year, in the stock super stock class. So he's looking for 2 Wallies now if he can pick up the big win here tonight. But Ron Scott hoping to end that streak here and now. Dial-in times are on the board. This is your stock, super stock final. Matajewski at 12:64 dial-in time. He will leave the line first. Ron Scott will try and chase him down. A perfect light, 5:00. Tree will count down. Jewski will leave the line first. That's 5:65 reaction time. Ron Scott, he's going to have a heck of a time trying to catch up to Ed Matajewski unless Matajewski breaks out. No. Matajewski will not be doing that. A 12:74 win for Ed Matajewski, 96.67 miles an hour. Ron Scott runs a 12:21 on his 12:18 dial-in time, 109.91 miles an hour. Congratulations to Ed Matajewski out of Sherwood Park, your stock, super stock champion here tonight, and another Wally.
Yeah. And Ed just keeps trucking along,
Boy,
picking them up.
Does he ever. Super Street Final coming your way right now, race fans. And this is going to be an interesting little battle as well. Randy Motorshot out of the Edmonton area taking on Craig Bickle from Courtenay, British Columbia. That's just outside of Victoria.
On the island.
On the island.
Alberta versus BC.
He's made the long haul to get here, race fans. And oops, we've got some reports of debris on the racetrack right now. So that's going to be sending out the Budweiser Motorsports Park safety safari to sort of inspect what that possible piece of debris is. Apparently our last pairing, one of the drivers said something may have fallen off my car. So actually this is a perfect opportunity. I was hoping you were going to get a chance to do this, to show you the ladder. Here's how Craig Bickle made it to the final, taking out Knight and Mandless, of course, on the other side of the ladder. Motorshot had no easy task either. He had all kinds of competitors he had to make his way through. Sims, of course, who won from New Norway on our last telecast. Motorshot taking out Braun. There's Dieter Holst, Fred Schwab, but Motorshot making up the other half of the final in the Super Street class. As you can see, the safety safari looking for that wayward piece of machinery that has possibly fallen off one of our race cars, and looks like they found what they are looking for, and they will head back to their respective positions, and we'll get these Super Street competitors, Craig Bickle, Randy Motorshot. They'll refire their race cars and have our final for you. They're gorgeous cars. You can't beat the cars from the 60s. You really can't.
You can't, Gord. I mean, and this is a beautiful 67. Beautiful.
468 cubic inch engine underneath the hood powering this race car. And the lights, well, they've been on now for a good 20 or 30 minutes or so, as the sun is pretty well down now here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. And we should see the reaction times improve somewhat with the Christmas tree counting down. Super Street Finals, race fans, and this is an indexed class. The index is set down by the NHRA for this class, for this racetrack. Do not go faster than the posted time on the board or your day is done. Randy Motorshot, Craig Bickle definitely know that. They've got their cars set up, and they are away. Bickle, the better reaction time with a 5:49 to Motorshot 6:24. They cruise down the quarter mile. Index is 11:13. Randy Motorshot breaks out with an 11:10. He is your runner-up in the Super Street class. Congratulations to Craig Bickle from Courtenay, British Columbia, winning the Super Street class here at Budweiser Motorsports Park tonight. Close race, but a breakout. The temperatures are cooling off, too.
Yeah, and Craig had the better reaction time here, but Randy really started to come on. And
well, he had to make up for the slower reaction time, and couldn't do it. He breaks out trying. That's why the reaction time is so important at the start line. A lot of the times the racers won or lost right at the start line. This was not the case in this event, as Motorshot just about did it, but he broke out. Super Gas final time now, race fans here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. And we talked about Eddie Plazer earlier out of Edmonton. He's got 4 Wallies. He's hoping for his 5th year tonight with a win. Scotty Byrne in the far lane, hoping to be the big champion here tonight as well.
And here we've got probably the 2 best at this point in time super gas racers in Alberta, if not Western Canada.
Well, Eddie Plaisir qualified number 10 in qualifying earlier on tonight. Scotty Hearn qualified number 4. So your number 4 qualifier taking on your number 10 qualifier. The index is on the board at 10-11. Again, don't go faster than that. Pro Treat 4.00 perfect light. A 4.70 for Scott Hearn. He's got the early advantage as these two drivers head down the quarter mile. Up to the finish line. And Scott Hearn breaks out with a 10.09. Eddie Plaisir, look, he slows to a 10.18 on a 10.11 index.
Again, it was Scott's race to win.
It was indeed.
We see this has happened a couple times tonight now.
A tough break for Scotty Hearn. Super Comp final time now, race fans, and well, a driver looking for his first win, going up against a driver who has won a nighttime race here before. So
Tony Ellett in the far lane, Randy White in the near lane.
Tony Ellett out of Edmonton. And the dragster, Randy White from Okotoks in the Dirty White Boys racing team. Now, how did these two drivers make it to the final? On the one side of the ladder, Randy White taking out Byron Ziegler. White also taking out Evans in the semifinal we saw a while ago in this broadcast. On the other side of the ladder, well, we had Adams. Steve Adams, your number 1 qualifier, was taken out by Tony Ellett. Tony Ellett qualified number 8. So it's the number 8 qualifier and Tony Ellett taking on the number 2 qualifier in Randy White, part of the Dirty White Boys racing team. 9.09 the index, perfect light of 4.00. Oh no. Jumping the gun was Randy White. In fact, he actually deep staged that race car.
Yeah, he did.
Tough break. That gave the win to Tony Ellett. A 9.09, runs a 9.16 at 147.25 miles an hour. Oh, what a disappointment for Randy White. He actually didn't jump. What he did was he deep staged the vehicle, which means he went further ahead on the start line, which is not allowed in the Super Comp class. In other words, he basically knocked out the pre-stage lights and just staged the stage lights, and that was a definite mistake on Randy White's part. But congratulations to Tony Ellett. All this we forgot. Tony Ellett wins his first Wally at Budweiser Motorsports Park. He'll be one excited driver, definitely.
That crew will be very happy at the top end, I can imagine. They'll be just ecstatic.
Your motorcycle ET final on deck right now, race fans. Battle of Alberta final. Calgary versus Edmonton. Calgary represented by Tim Ryerson on that 78 Suzuki drag bike. Tim Weeb out of Edmonton, one of the winningest drivers here at this facility in the past 3 seasons. Dial-in time on the board. In fact, Dave Weeb finished second in points in 1999. He was the Calgary track champion. So these two have faced many, many times. His payback time, says Tim Ryerson. Ryerson dialed in with an 11.20. He will leave the line first. Dave Weeb dialed in with a 10-second flat. Oh, and they are off. Tim Ryerson has the better reaction time over Dave Weeb at the finish line. Who takes it, though? Oh, yeah, it was Tim Ryerson all the way, courtesy of the better reaction time. 11.24 and his 11.20 dial-in time. Dave Weeb will be very disappointed with his reaction time.
Yes, and Dave's had a rough year this year. He's kind of been up and down that. He didn't win in that, but again, all the credit to Tim. He was closer to his dial-in, had a better reaction time. On paper he had it to win, and on the track he won.
On our replay from our finish line camera, a quick check over the shoulder. He's going, "Where the heck are you, Dave Weeb?" So Tim Ryerson runs it out at 11.24 at 100.44 miles an hour. Your champion in the motorcycle class here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park. Time now for the top comp class here, and this is going to be one incredible race.
This is the nice thing about this class, Gord. Here we have a door car running a rear engine dragster. Altereds are in this class, everything, and this is what the fans are loving. It's not dragsters running dragsters or body running body. There's all the different variations here.
It's a nice mix.
And another thing, both the cars sponsored by Bell Automotive.
Some good engines. By the way, this is your number 1 qualifier taking on your number 2 qualifier, Terry Cameron in the dragster, Brian Adams in the Firebird. How did these two drivers get to the final? Well, here's what happened. Cameron taking out Steve Flasha from Whitecourt. Adams taking out Derek Polak out of Stony Plain in the competition Chevrolet-sponsored Chevy pickup. So they've had their travels to get to the final here tonight, and we've got it for you right now, race fans, on SHAW Motorsports. Again, this is Trilenium Industries Championship drag racing and coverage of Snap-on Tools Hot August Night, the Canadian Open. This race is for the Wally. Terry Cameron has the quicker of the two cars, but not by much. Cameron again in the Dragster, Adams in the Firebird. We'll have the dial-in times. Cameron is dialed in with a 7:43, Adams a 7:73. And there we have it for you on the screen right now, race fans. So Adams will leave the line first, closely followed by Terry Cameron. Final, top comp, right now. Oh, Cameron cut the better light in the Dragster.
Oh, beautiful reaction.
A 5.20 Adams. No way he was going to be able to hang on to the lead there, cutting a 5.92 reaction time. A 7.56 on a 7.43 dial-in time for Cameron, an 8-second flat on a 7.73 dial-in time for Adams. But the reaction time definitely hurt Brian Adams. As we see the replay at the finish line, Cameron nails him at the 1,000-foot mark, passes him right at the finish line for the big win.
Snap-on Tools Hot August Night's #1 qualifier in the top alcohol funny car class, Roger Bateman up from Calgary. Roger, you ran an incredible run in your qualifying, and then it's getting downright ugly out there as far as getting this car down the track straight.
Yeah, we're struggling a bit. Even the first run, even though the number was good, then it wasn't a great run. We were all over the place and rolling the car around. So we got to fix something. We're going to have to kill some power or do something to get down the racetrack because we're struggling right now.
And you're the #1 qualifier. You're also the current track record holder on both sides, the ET and the speed. And, well, when it cools off a little bit here tonight, you just never know. Maybe we'll see some of that speed return.
Well, I don't know. We haven't got a good grip. Some other guys are doing a better job right now. We have to put our heads together and come up with a fix for this.
The early indication from race fans is we're going to see a battle of Alberta drag racing style between you and John Evanchuk. That's a possibility here tonight.
Oh, definitely. John's been good everywhere we've gone recently. He's made some real positive moves. He's getting harder to beat.
Well, one thing that Roger Bateman does not want John Evanchuk to do right now is beat him in this final round because, hey, this is for all the marbles.
Yeah, Gord, you know, ever since John's come into this a few years back, 4 years ago now, Roger's helped him along in that, and they've become very good friends. But right now, the friendship is out the door. Yeah. It's
Roger's
first man down the other end.
Roger's owned this event these past several years. Of course, he owns the track record here in the top alcohol funny car class. He seems to reset the mark each and every year. It's burnout time. Roger Bateman, as I mentioned, he set the track record here last year at the Nhra Canadian Open, running a 5.87.200, 38.15 miles an hour. This car is also the fastest race car in Canada. As we take a look at the ladder, how did these two drivers get here? Well, Bateman, #1 qualifier. Of course, he had the bye running in the first round. We saw semifinal action a while ago in this broadcast. Bateman taking out Danny Fillion. Evanchuk, your #2 qualifier, makes it to the final. And he's taking on Roger Bateman. As I mentioned, Roger Bateman, the fastest top alcohol funny car in Canada. And boy, Bateman has a busy, busy schedule. Of course, he's going to wrap up his race season November 9th through the 12th down in Pomona, California for the NHRA World Final. So look for him maybe on a TNN broadcast near you. But Roger Bateman taking on John Evanchuk. Evanchuk, of course, Edson Freight Lines, Edmonton Peterbilt Trucks, Husky Oil, some of the proud sponsors on that Red Wolf Top Alcohol Funny Car team. Both these two drivers each around 2,500 horsepower. So we got about 5,000 horsepower coming up to the start line right now.
Now, John here's been around for a long time. He's been running the alcohol funny car here for 4 years, but John's been around since the 70s. He was involved with the Top Fuel car back then. A few years ago, he's involved with Darrell Webb with his alcohol funny car, and he made the big step, and John's progressing. And I was there when he ran this car down the track the first time, and I hope I'm there when he wins the big one.
Well, down in Seattle a few weeks ago, he managed to take out the #1 qualifier, too, Bucky Austin.
Bucky's nephew.
Bucky's nephew, right. Pat Austin.
Pat Austin.
There we go. We knew he'd come to us. Well, Bateman, he just treed John Evanchuk with a 5:07 to a 5:63 reaction time. Look at the ET difference. A slower ET wins it. Bateman, a 644, 215.72 miles an hour. If he didn't have the horsepower and the traction, that would have been a win for John Evanchuk. If the track was, say, 20 feet longer, the wind light would have been shining in John Evanchuk's lane. Oh, man. Again, another learning experience here, as you see, getting out of the groove a little bit.
Well, again, the left lane's a little sloppier, so to say,
yes,
than the right lane. And John hit that bump, and of course, when he hit that bump, the tires release and the RPM. So actually, John did a very good job of driving that extra car there. Ran this year, like you were saying a little earlier, ran his first 5-second run, 5.96.
Seattle taking out Pat Austin, then beating Bucky Austin in the next round.
Got two big heavy hitters in that class. So
boy.
John's come a long way, but he'll do her.
I bet you he will. Another guy that's hoping to do her is Kevin Boyer. For that Top Fuel Harley Davidson. His last pass, he leaned out the engine just a little bit as he crossed the finish line about 135 miles an hour. About 700 horsepower. These engines pump out. Ace Manufacturing, one of the proud sponsors on this ride. www.teamaceracing.com. He's got his own personal website, as do a lot of our competitors. Actually, the Budweiser Motorsports Park at www.budpark.com have links to a lot of competitors that race here at the track. Kevin Boyer doing a test and tune pass. Let's see what he does. Well, much to the disappointment of the crowd, going ooh and ah, Kevin Boyer doesn't do much.
But, he launched very hard. Obviously, something broke.
Yep.
Very wisely on his part, thinking maybe he might be losing oil.
Yep.
Pulled over the side. Very good move.
Veteran move.
Exactly.
Three-time track champion here at Budweiser Motorsports Park in 93, 94, 95 in the motorcycle ET class. Of course, we just saw the final moments ago. Tim Ryerson taking out Dave Wee, but a tough break. He launched hard. Watch the front tire lift off the ground. Whoa, boy, did he ever launch hard. So while we wait for Kevin Boyer to have some help, and we're moving his Top Fuel ride off the quarter-mile strip, is where we're at, Budweiser Motorsports Park. Welcome back, race fans. Tri-Lane Industries Championship drag racing and coverage of the NHRA Canadian Open. Snap-on Tools, hot August night. We got the Jets standing by. We've got Pro Alcohol funny cars coming away right now. And the first pass, excellent pass to kick off our show. And we've got Jay Maggio in the far lane and that beautiful 57 Chevy Pro Alcohol funny car.
Darrell Webb in your lane here in the 82 Corvette. Known as the king of burnout, he's showing you why. Gord, there's a very interesting thing here. I hope we get a chance to show it, but on the back of Darrell's car here, Darrell and Jay are very good friends in that, and there's a little bit of kibitzing going on here. And on the back of his car, there's a license plate, and it's a little shot at Jay here, and it's a little challenge, and it says "By Jay."
Oh, I hope we get a shot of that.
Well, I was there at the car show when they unveiled it to Jay, and Jay is a pretty good talker, but I'll tell you, for a few seconds he was speechless. Then he looked at Darrell and says, "I'll get you. It'll take a while, but I'm going to get you back." So here we go.
Nice shot of that smoky burnout. And one of the charities that Darrell Webb is true to his heart. He's got teamed himself up with the Kids for Cancer program. I think it's like $5 a foot for a burnout. And he donates
makes it
that.
well over the 8th mile, halfway down. More, he gets closer to the end of the car. There we go.
There it is.
By Jay.
Well, thank you.
And Jay's seen that license plate a few times this year, and so I don't know if it's such a comical thing anymore, but I know Jay, he's going to pick her up, and then there'll be a license plate or something for Darrell as time goes on here.
Always the intimidation factor. Any edge that a person can get over a competitor, be it a friend or a foe, they'll take advantage of it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Lucas Oil Field, Shoppers Auto Pro Collision, a couple of the proud sponsors on Darrell Webb's Pro Alcohol Funny Car. We see some flashes of flame coming out of the pipes of that race car. Of course, Joey's only. What a beautiful paint job in that 57 Chevy of Jay Maggio. So this is your Pro Alcohol. It's an exhibition run between Maggio and Darrell Webb. We've got it for you right now here on SHAW Motorsports. Maggio. Oh, Maggio gets out of the racing groove already. Darrell Webb will win this, running a 780, 174.85 miles an hour. Maggio coasts to an 1193, 83.33 miles an hour. Well, he got to see the license plate again.
But very, very wisely on Jay's part,
Yes.
okay? Instead of keeping your foot in it, putting it into the wall or hurting yourself, he'll come back for another day. You know, it's no use.
Yeah. No use scraping up the paint a little bit. Oh, he did a wonderful job avoiding taking out the 330-foot marker as well. So Jay Maggio and Darrell Webb. Darrell Webb picks up the big win. Congratulations to you guys. We'll see you at future broadcasts here on Shaw.
Second consecutive hot August night here at Budweiser Motorsports Park from Van Nuys, California. Casey Jones suffering a little bit from the flu here tonight.
Yeah, obviously you can hear my voice is a little bit rattled, Gordon, but it's really good to be back here, and it's good to see you again, sir.
Well, it's good to have you back, and of course, what an incredible smoke show, fire show, your first pass of the night. Got a little bit more of that tonight as the sun goes down.
Oh, it's only going to get better as it gets a little bit darker here, but I think the people were plenty impressed with what we already did for them, and get on out here and see us do it again.
Well, indeed. Now, tell us a little bit about your Cannonball Express for those of you who are watching at home who may have not seen your Jet Dragster before.
Well, it's a J34 Westinghouse motor. This motor was built back in the early 50s. It was used in a Korean War fighter called the Banshee. We've designed our car to look like an old-style steam locomotive. It's got a cow catcher on the front and an operating smokestack and an engineer's cabin in the back, and it's a lot of fun. Plus, it goes pretty good, too, for an old choo-choo train.
Oh, indeed it does. Casey Jones, go get him in round number 2 here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park.
We're looking forward to it. Brad's doing an excellent job, and you know, this is his hometown track, and he's definitely gunning for us, so we got to be sharp tonight.
Well, the action is going to get hot here, race fans, in just a couple of moments. We've got the final 2 passes of our Jet car competitors here tonight. Stan Ankers joining me up here in the broadcast booth. We've actually asked a bunch of our winners from earlier on in this telecast to gather down in the staging lanes, and you in just a couple of moments are going to run on down there and grab some interviews with our winners. And be careful going down those steps for me, would you?
Yeah, it's a long fall from the top here.
Is it ever? There is a good shot of the C-Tech Rolling Thunder Jet Funny Car. Brad Januszewski out of Drayton Valley, again Canada's only licensed Jet Funny Car pilot. This is Canada's only Jet Funny Car also, and just based in Drayton Valley. So this is literally his home track. In the near lane, Casey Jones and the Cannonball Express. And race fans, actually he's out of Van Nuys, California. And Stan, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, if you take a look at Casey's car, it's basically a replica of an old steam train. And a cow catcher on the front, stuff like that.
Stan Ankers, you go down to the start line and arrange for the interviews, okay? And we'll talk to you in a bit to wrap up our show. Race fans, I'm going to keep quiet for a bit too. Let's listen into the fire show and see the fire show and the smoke show. This is incredible stuff. And Brad Januszewski, he had a slower reaction time, but he runs a 6.66 second run, 228.31 miles an hour. Casey Jones from Van Nuys, California, actually slowed. He ran a 7:08. He actually was out, well out in front for a bit there, but slowed at about the 1,000-foot mark. Actually, he flamed out about the halfway point on the racetrack. He was actually gaining on Brad Januszewski. But Januszewski picks up the big win. Let's talk now with Leland Blee.
Another driver up from Billings, Montana in the Pacifier, Jed Dragster, teammate, I guess, of Chuck Haynes. But you're really going to be out there at Leland Blee to possibly put a number on your boss.
Oh, we're trying. I beat him a couple times this year already, so you never know. New car is awful fast. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'll have to do it on a tree, I guess.
You've been running this car for how many years now?
About 4 years now.
And it's been a lot of fun. You've been to many, many places. Name some of the places you've actually traveled being associated with the Haynes racing team.
Oh, yeah. We went to Australia, and Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, all over Australia. Portland, watched the rain a couple times in Portland. Back east to Illinois. All around the U.S. and over in Australia, we had a good time.
Good move for you getting into the racing end of things, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's been a ball. It's been a lot of fun racing with him.
Well, good luck tonight, Leland Blee out of Billings, Montana, driving the Pacifier here at Snap-on Tools Hot August night. Well, this is it, race fans. The final pass of our broadcast in the Jet Car class. It is Chuck Haynes in a brand new Volcano Jet Dragster taking on Leland Blee. Blee, of course, won both earlier rounds. First round was because, well, Chuck Haynes had problems with his jet. But things are ready to go for this final pass of our night. Hope you've enjoyed the action here. After this pass, we will take a short commercial break because we're running out of time here in our broadcast here. We're going to talk with some of our winners, which have gathered down in the staging lanes, who are sort of sneaking around the corner now with the Jet Car Fire Show, which is going to begin right now. Listen and watch this incredible smoke and fire show, starting with Blee and Haynes.
Here we go.
And Chuck Haynes wins it. We go down to the staging lanes to talk with some of our winners after this.
Out of Edmonton, how's it feel?
Very well, very well. Very excited. The car worked flawless all day, and was a close race at the finish. It was 9 1/1000ths, and we're just happy to get the fifth. We needed something else on the fireplace.
This is what it's all about, race fans. And to Tony Ellett, man, oh man, you picked up the big win here tonight at Budweiser Motorsports Park.
Well, thanks a lot. I just want to thank everybody that works here and all the volunteers. I'd like to thank my crew. I'd like to thank my dad and Driveline and everybody else. Team effort. We did it. Thanks a lot.
And this was one of my first wins at an NHRA Open like this, so I'm just excited as could be.
Good. And you've been racing a long time, haven't you, Brian?
I have. I was going at it for about 3 years, and I took about a 5-year break, and I've just started again this season and having a lot of luck.
Okay, here we are with the winner in Super Pro, Gary Trefel from Edmonton, Alberta. How does it feel, Gary?
Well, it feels very great to be here, and it's my first time, and it's a lot more, has a lot more feeling to me than just going rounds and winning in a an ordinary weekend event.
Ed, this is not really new to you, is it? How many times have you won this category, or a Wally? Let's put it that way, a Wally.
This will be my fifth Wally now, but the second time I won in the stock super stock combo. So.
Right. And you actually, with one of your sponsors here, Competition Chevaux, you've been with them quite a few years, haven't you?
Yeah, they've been with me now since '94, so yeah, about 6, going 7th year, I suppose. Right. So yeah, they've been good to me. They keep me going.
I'm from Courtenay, BC, on Vancouver Island, so it's about a 14-15 hour drive to here, including the ferry ride over to Vancouver and up from there.
Right. So, and how long have you been racing?
I've been racing since I was 16.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you've been around for a little while.
Yeah,
and
since I was old enough to drive, I've been.
Right.
We had a pretty good run today. Last weekend, actually, we did win the Quick 16.
That's right, yeah.
And there's a lot of tough competition in this new class, eh? Cars are fast, it's exciting. You can have blowing funny cars, alcohol, carbureted, whatever.
It was an experiment. Division 6 started in the year 2000, and it's the only division in NHRA that is running the top comp class.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I believe that they're going to do some other divisions. They're also going to take over the top comp deal, and I think the spectators like it. And I'd just like to get the deal in here with a sponsorship thing.
Absolutely, no. This is
I'd like to thank Bell Engine Service for making the big horsepower to run us 180 mile an hour at times, and especially like to thank my crew chief Crystal, right over there.
There she is.
Get a little shot of Crystal, please. She dials the car in to hit the number, and I try to do my job as the driver, and we made it to the final.
Well, Terry Cameron, again, congratulations on being the 2000 Snap-on Tools Hot August Night Canadian Open champion. That's a big mouthful, but big smiles, and it's going to continue on into the week, I bet.
Thanks a lot, Gord.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Well, race fans, Stan Ankers, if you can join me now, it was an unbelievable night here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. We didn't hit the 300 mile an hour mark. Too bad for Chuck Haynes with those two other runs, but man, he sure hit the nail on the head that final pass.
Yes, he did, Gord. It was a fantastic night. The weather was just beautiful all day. The night turned right. The air was right and everything, but unfortunately, like you say, we didn't hit the 300. But that gives Chuck something to shoot for the next time he comes back, and I know he will do it because he's going to be a little frustrated right now, and he's going to want to prove that he can do it because we know he can, but he's going to want to prove it to the fans in the stands.
Indeed, Stan. And again, thank you very much for joining me up in the broadcast booth here tonight, and thank you for running down the steps and doing those interviews for me while I was making the call of the final passes of our competitors here tonight.
No problem, Gord. It's been a great, fun time again and an enjoyable time working with you.
Race fans at home, thank you for joining us here on SHAW Motorsports Trilenium Industries Championship NHRA drag racing and coverage of the Snap-on Tools Hot August Night Canadian Open. Race fans, we're going to see you at a track near you. Good night from Budweiser Motorsports Park.
Hey folks, Helen Nitro back here at Nitromaniac TV HQ. Wanting to thank you very much for checking out this premiere here on Nitromaniac TV's Drag Files channel. tinyurl.com/Drag Files. We got the merch links below. And of course, a big shout out to another sponsor, Main Event Entertainment. And you can go and check out the link in the description below to check out their great programming from the 80s and the 90s and that stuff that is being re-released for on-demand and streaming availability anytime for free $99. So go check it out. The link is below. That's it. That's all I've got for right now. We'll catch you next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Drag Files channel. And again, a big shout out to Big Jim and, of course, to the original broadcast crew, Gord, Craig, Stan Ankers with SHAW Motorsports, and the hard-working men and women that put this or these two broadcasts that you've seen together tonight. I think in total they did about 8 or 10 different broadcasts with a variety of motorsports disciplines until the plug was finally pulled on this in about 2001. And then in about 2006 2006, I want to say. 2006 through about 07. It came back, but the community channel just was basically a shell of its former self at that time. It was more of a ticker with community events and that stuff. And it went from, it being a full screen, 4x3, like you've seen tonight, to like a little corner of the 4x3, and the racing stuff would be in that little corner, and then, just all this information would be blowing up towards you and that stuff. But they did come back, just very briefly in the mid-2000s for a little bit. But this was, obviously the halcyon era of match race events and everything coming through that facility, just leading up to, as I said earlier, the IHRA sanctioning, and then the first Rocky Mountain Nationals in 2003, and the track really getting worldwide exposure off of that. So anyways, that's another history lesson for another time, maybe another video. I'm Kellen Nitro. Later days, take her easy. We'll see you next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Drag Files channel. Do take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the track freaks.
Nitromaniac TV's Drag Files, taking you trackside where an admission pass won't. Subscribe today for the best in modern and archival drag racing content. Plus, coming soon, join Kellen Nitro as he takes a look at the classic races that make up drag racing history in the Retro Race Review. Subscribe today at tinyurl.com/dragfile.